sourcing bravely just means going out of your comfort zone. You're not alone. You don't need to be a lone wolf.
I love that. Tell me this, for people who are watching and are thinking about maybe dipping their toes into this business on the retail side.
Yeah.
Is this a business that you honestly recommend
It's going to be late
in
tonight,
2024?
so I'm just hanging out.
Nope.
Like
I was saying, you have to dedicate massive amounts of time to it. And you need the wherewithal to
got a new doggy cam.
have that dedication.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are built for this. Not a lot of people are very friendly or personable. They might be incredible on the analytical side of things. They might be great at sourcing. They might be great at buying. They might be great at selling on eBay or Amazon. But at the end of the day, they might not be very good when it comes to that customer service.
So talk to me about, like, with video games in general, maybe not necessarily on the store side. A lot of people would say, hey, physical media is dying. Like, don't get into this business. It's not worth it. You're going to be out of business in 10 years. Would you agree with that?
No. Physical media is going to be around a lot longer, especially with certain companies saying that they're going strictly to digital. People want to hold games. They want to put cartridges in. They want to put discs in. They want to make sure that they're reliving that experience that they had when they were younger. So if they're not going in there and enjoying the game, if they're not displaying it, or they're not putting it on a shelf, or they're not putting it on a rack, they're going to be a little bit more disappointed. It's more like playing a movie than playing a game at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that the death of physical media is heavily, heavily, heavily overstated. I think that you're going to see more physical media get sold. As soon as those companies go to digital only, you're going to see a outburst, a huge upswelling of physical media.
Wow. Do you think there will be long-term implications, like the kids who are growing up today with primarily digital and downloads and getting games on Amazon, like, will we eventually see a decline?
I think that those kids are a lot more savvy than we give them credit for. I believe that they want those old games. I have a lot of 16, 17, 12-year-olds coming in here. I want Super Nintendo games. I want 64 games. My dad told me that GoldenEye was the best shooter of all time. I got to play that, and I got to buy a 64 to do that.
He was wrong, first of all.
They want those things that their parents grew up on. It's like, you know how kids get into rock music. Their parents got them into Leonard Skinner and Kansas and those bands. Now all of a sudden, they love Leonard Skinner and Kansas. It's the same thing with video games.
Yeah,
their parents are going to get them into 64 games. They're going to break out that box of old Super Nintendo, and that kid's going to fall in love with the sprites and the music, and they're going to want that for themselves too. I think that it's nothing to be afraid of. I think that it might be a little bit, it might be just a little bit of fear of the unknown. But that unknown, to people that aren't afraid of that future, it's very bright for us.
One thing that I always say is, like, I'm not in the speculation business. I'm in the adaptation business.
Exactly.
Right? Our jobs are not to predict what's going to happen. And so as long as the market's currently good, I pretty much recommend it to people.
Yeah.
Everyone eats. And I've never really benefited from trying to predict what's going to happen 5-10 years down the line.
Yeah, I mean, adaptation is is easily the most important thing. Like I was mentioning earlier, I didn't have any type of love for Pokemon, but it started to show me that it was very, very profitable. I adapted into Pokemon. Same with other hobbies and other things that we offer. Lorcana is starting to get big.
Yeah.
We start to offer Lorcana now. We're adapting to what the market is dictating. And I think that that is a very, very powerful trait to have, that you can easily segue into what is now considered popular and aggressively go after it. But that's another reason that it's really hard to start this business in 2024. You have to be aggressive. You have to be able to adapt very quickly. And if you're not, you're going to get left behind, and you're going to be one of those stores that closes in a year.
Absolutely. So you talked about earlier retirement at 50 is a big goal for you. Beyond that, like, what's your end game with all this?
Basically, I want to spend the next 13 years giving people the best experience they can get. I want to, which is aging me, by the way, I'm 37. Something that means a lot to me is putting it out there for people to have the best time they possibly can. The end goal after that is to literally sell this business, live off some of the money, and invest the rest. That's it. I just want to create a comfortable life for my children, my wife, and I want to live my life. I feel like working 70 hours a week since I was in my 20s, I've earned it.
Folks, if you are in the Fort Myers area, definitely check out Dynamo Collectibles. And if you want to see a video of a $5 million Pokemon card business owner who operates in his basement, I will link it right down here. And we will catch you guys
on the
flip.
On the flip,
You can just hang outside in the sun all day tossing a ball around. Or you can sit at your computer and do something that matters.
Make Love, Not Warcraft is arguably South Park's most iconic episode. It was voted the #1 episode in their Year of the Fan poll, holds an insane 9.5 rating on IMDb. Oh yeah, and just won an Emmy, you know, no big deal.
South Park, make love, not Warcraft.
Many people consider this the greatest episode of all time. Even people who don't usually watch South Park or play World of Warcraft still adore this episode. So how did this happen? How did this episode end up becoming South Park's magnum opus? How did they convince Blizzard Entertainment to help them make it? And why did co-creator Trey Parker beg to have this episode pulled the night before it aired? Lucky for you guys, I have all the answers. Not only am I a South Park nerd, I'm also, unfortunately, a World of Warcraft nerd, which is probably exposing the fact that I haven't felt the touch of a woman in years, but that's irrelevant. The point is, I'm finally making a video where I can be considered an expert in the topic I'm covering. Yeah, no armchair analysis for this video, no hours of research, learning about a religion, a health condition, nope. Just straight up neckbeard knowledge for this one. Before we break down this episode and how it came to be, we should first start with the question, what is World of Warcraft?
Anything can slow the explosive growth of the intoxicating game called World of Warcraft.
Wow. Teenager hooked on violent computer games. He's playing them an incredible 16 hours a day.
All right, drums up. Ready, guys? Let's do this.
Leroy James.
Released by Blizzard Entertainment in 2004, World of Warcraft is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, otherwise known as an MMORPG. Within a couple months after its release, it became a commercial success, quickly becoming the most popular MMORPG of all time. It wasn't the first MMORPG, you had games like EverQuest, Ultima Online, and RuneScape, but WoW was the first of its kind to make a splash into the mainstream world.
Let's just say that I had to quit the game for good going on a year now.
Which one?
World of Warcraft.
A game like World of Warcraft is a lot different from your typical video game. There is no real end to it. You don't just buy it, beat it, and then move on to the next one. These are games that could essentially last forever. Assuming a healthy player base, MMORPGs will see consistent updates, expansions, even mechanics within the game to keep people playing longer. As you can imagine, all of this is a recipe for gaming addiction and real-life neglect, which is exactly what South Park is satirizing in this episode. They're not ripping on people who play these games, just the people who let it take control of their lives.
Have fun with it and then do other stuff. Even the people, when we did this episode in conjunction with the people at Blizzard, even they were like, boy, some of these people are losers that play this game all the time.
So how is World of Warcraft holding up today, nearly 20 years after this episode released? Well, it's very much still alive. As of making this video, Blizzard has released 10 different expansions of the game and has made close to $10 billion. The game currently has multiple versions that you can play. WoW is no longer just one single game because starting in 2019, they released Classic WoW, and this Classic version has led to seasonal servers, hardcore servers, and one server stuck in time from the year 2006, which is actually the version of WoW the boys are playing in this South Park episode. The most popular version according to viewership is Hardcore, where if you die in the game, you die in real life. Okay, but in all seriousness, if you die in this mode, your character is gone forever.
Yo, permadeath WoW? That's wild.
Now that we have a basic understanding of what World of Warcraft is, let's talk about how this episode came to be.
Yeah, with Warcraft in particular, I remember half our office was playing it. I mean, it was everyone, you'd go by computer screens and it was either South Park or Warcraft.
This is one of the rare ideas for the show that just happened naturally. Most South Park episodes involve hours of brainstorming, looking into pop culture, world news. This episode came out of Matt and Trey noticing their animators playing WoW while at work. And Trey Parker, being a massive nerd, he decided to try out the game as well.
And I mean, World of Warcraft was a great game and did a lot of things for the industry, but like after about 20 hours of playing it, I was like, this is kind of the same thing over and over again. And I got bored with it.
Thankfully for us, Trey didn't get addicted to the game, but he did still want to make an episode about it. There were some glaring concerns though, most importantly, how would they do the animation within the game? The conversation started during the production of Season 9, right after the famous Trapped in the Closet episode came out.
Dad, Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet.
Trey held a meeting with the studio, seeing what could be done about creating a World of Warcraft episode. He wanted the in-game stuff to be full 3D, not the animation style that defines the normal South Park look, and not only that, he also told them he wanted this to be the finale episode for Season 9. This means that they would have 2 weeks to figure out how to do all of this animation while still working on another episode in the meantime. Remember, this is back when South Park was doing an episode in just 6 days. Trey was told some bad news that this was not realistic at all and maybe not even possible to do within 2 weeks. So the idea was scrapped for almost an entire year. Thankfully, they didn't give up on this episode forever, and the conversations continued the following season. Instead of creating their own animation just to make this episode, technology supervisor JJ Franzen suggested trying to shoot the in-game stuff, well, actually in the game. Franzen had been following Machinima off and on for years, and he knew some of their creators were getting decent results out of World of Warcraft. He ended up showing Trey a Machinima short film made in World of Warcraft called Return. It obviously looks dated now because it's a re-upload and from 2005, but this little film was enough to show Trey that it could be done. Once their hearts were set on making this episode happen, they figured there was nothing to lose and might as well see if Blizzard would help them out with it. Blizzard was absolutely thrilled with the idea, despite knowing that their game could be massively made fun of. They were on board from the start. The next day, they sent over 3 people with a Game Master client and started shooting some test footage. The test went okay, but Trey Parker, being a perfectionist, did have some issues. He wanted to have lip sync that would match the character's words and more accurate facial expressions, which the in-game emotes couldn't accomplish. Getting Blizzard's full permission to use their in-game assets, they used a program called Maya, which would allow them to edit the in-game character models to be a lot more smooth. And now that they had animation that would please Trey and the overwhelming support of Blizzard, history would soon be made. Now that we have a basic understanding of World of Warcraft and how this episode came to fruition, it's time to break it down. But first, do me a solid and check if you're subscribed. Considering my abysmal upload consistency, this might be the only way to know when a new video drops. On that note, I am done being shameless. Here is South Park's most iconic episode.
Bathroom! What, huh? Bathroom! Bathroom!
Ma'am, more hot packets.
The episode begins in World of Warcraft, at one of the most iconic towns in the game, known as Goldshire.
Dude, I just took the biggest crap.
If you've played WoW before, you know what goes down here. If you haven't, well, let's just say this is where the role players hang out. Some of us lost our innocence in this very town. The boys are annoyed with Cartman for taking way too long to get back online. Relatable, honestly. Kyle urges them to get moving so they can start finishing some quests. Stan then gets interrupted by his dad, who suggests he should be out socializing instead of sitting on the computer all weekend.
I am socializing, Artard. I'm logged on to an MMORPG with people from all over the world and getting XP with my party using TeamSpeak.
Oh yeah, the days before Discord. I was more of a Ventrilo user, but yeah, back in the day it was either TeamSpeak or Ventrilo, and everyone had a headset mic that sounded like they were underwater.
You are going to DPS very slowly.
Maximum nostalgia for the mid-2000s gamer right here. After Randy leaves the room, we get a glimpse of Stan's screen on the game. So one thing I'll mention now to get it out of the way, South Park got a lot of stuff wrong in this episode in terms of accuracy to the actual game. The levels of their characters, to the gear they're wearing, the towns and spells they call out. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense if you're comparing it to World of Warcraft. Personally, this doesn't matter to me at all, despite being a WoW nerd myself. I don't think it makes the episode any less amazing. I just thought I would mention this because I'm not going to correct all of their mistakes, because the truth is, if you're a WoW player, you already know, and if you're not, well, then it doesn't matter. As the boys are on their way to finally start playing, Stan recognizes another player in the game, who instantly starts emoting on them. They tell Kyle this guy was killing them last night while they were trying to finish quests. Kyle assures the boys that it's fine, because he can't kill them unless they agree to duel. Well, that turns out to not be true.
Oh my god, he killed Kenny! You bastard!
And he proceeds to massacre them all. We then get to see the face of our antagonist, who actually doesn't get a name this episode. On the script, he did have a name though, and it was Noob's Boner. Good one, guys. His actual name was later revealed to be Jenkins in a frequently asked questions post on South Park Studios, but I never heard Matt or Trey ever refer to his actual name other than what was in the script. The name Jenkins is obviously a reference to the viral video Leroy Jenkins, which I showed earlier in this video. Now for the most interesting part of this character. Like most characters in South Park, which are inspired by real life people, this one is too. And no, it's not this guy. Sick cosplay though, rest in peace. His real inspiration was actually a senior project manager at Blizzard at the time named Joey Ray Hall. Hall led the team that helped South Park with this episode and was perfectly happy being depicted as the neckbeard loser. Oh, and if this isn't interesting enough for you, this man is also the father of YouTuber / Twitch streamer Pirate Software.
No, my dad didn't inspire the WoW guy from South Park. My dad is the WoW guy from South Park.
Yeah, there's so much random lore throughout this episode, and we're only a few minutes in so far. Lock in, guys. After getting killed by Jenkins for 2 nights in a row, the boys decide to call Blizzard customer service to complain about it. The employee says the game is designed so players can't kill each other unless they agree to duel.
Yeah, well, this guy does it anyways. He's a goddamn butthole.
We learn that the boys aren't the only ones getting griefed by this player, and it's gotten so out of hand that Blizzard is actually having a meeting about it. They suggest basic stuff like having him banned and removed from the servers, but this man is apparently so god mode, he's actually able to kill Blizzard admins. I've actually seen someone say they don't like this episode because of how unrealistic this storyline is with Jenkins being too powerful, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, come on, we're watching a show with crab people, talking feces, and Mormonism being the correct religion. Having a character in WoW being able to kill admins isn't that crazy. One of the employees gets up in a panic saying that he has to get home because his kids are playing World of Warcraft right now.
Your kids' characters are already dead.
No.
They just started playing!
I love this line so much. If you don't know, dying in World of Warcraft is really no big deal. You pretty much just have to run back to your corpse and your armor gets slightly damaged. So the way they make death seem so serious in this episode is pretty funny to any WoW player. One of the Blizzard employees asks what kind of person they're dealing with here. And we get one of the most iconic lines in the entire episode.
We are dealing with someone here who has absolutely no life. How do you kill that which has no life?
The boys decide to take matters into their own hands. Cartman holds a meeting for all the boys in class that play WoW. He proposes an idea that if they all log on together, they might actually stand a chance of beating this guy. Most of them get really fired up about the idea, except for Clyde, who says it's a waste of time.
Clyde, if you had a chance right now to go back in time and stop Hitler, wouldn't you do it? I mean, I personally wouldn't stop him because I think it was awesome, but you would, right?
This is easily one of my favorite Cartman lines in the entire show. It just perfectly embodies who he is at his core. I feel like you can't have a top South Park episode without a little bit of unhinged Cartman, but maybe that's just me. Clyde says that he's just gonna stop playing, and Cartman goes on to say that a lot of people stopped playing when Hitler rose to power.
The French. Are you French, Clyde? No. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi, Clyde? All right, I'll do it.
You know, everyone always gives France a hard time about World War II, but I don't know, man, those were some methed up Nazis. A blitzkrieg fueled by amphetamines sounds pretty horrifying. Just a random shower thought, don't mind me. After Clyde agrees to help, Eric tells them all to log in at 7:30 so they can take this guy down once and for all.
I don't play World of Warcraft.
Excuse me.
Butters, you said you're on your computer all the time.
Yeah, but I'm playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
The way he's smiling after he says that is so cute for some reason. So what if I told you Hello Kitty Island Adventure is a real game? Because it is. Well, it wasn't during the time this episode was released, but as of 2023, there's in fact a pretty popular game with this exact title. According to the game's creators, this is just a coincidence. They deny any type of inspiration from South Park. I'm not buying that out of the hundreds of people who worked on this game, none of them knew this name was used in an episode of South Park. This line from Butters was actually turned into a pretty big meme back in the day as well. Whenever someone complained of something being too hard in a game, a common roast was, well, you should just go play Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Some people were even saying this despite not seeing this episode. My point is, this line reached well outside of the South Park fandom. We get a scene of Randy, who has apparently made his own World of Warcraft account. His work buddy Nelson walks up and asks if he's playing a computer game.
No, Artard, it's an MMORPG.
The good old days when Randy was easily a top 3 character. I'm not like a massive hater of his modern day character like a majority of South Park fans are, but I do miss Randy in his prime. After schooling Nelson on what World of Warcraft is,
I've braved the Fargo Deep Mine, defeated the Bloodfish at Jared's Landing.
Looks like that guy just killed you.
the next scene shows us that the boys have followed through with their plan, and they've now gathered together to try and take down their griefer. We get to see all of the characters from the boys in the class, which I find pretty cool.
All right, Eric, you can count on us. Timmy!
A funny little detail is that Jimmy and Timmy are the only ones here who are wearing default level 1 gear. I have to imagine that they did this on purpose, but I guess we'll never know. While Cartman is giving a speech to hype up the boys, we learn that Butters has joined the game.
Hey, fellas! Boy, this is neato, huh? Butters, what the hell are you doing?
This is one of the inaccuracies that was almost certainly done on purpose. Obviously, Butters wouldn't be able to get all of that gear right away. I just wanted to bring up the fact that some of the mistakes even Trey would have been well aware of after 20 hours of gameplay. So it's likely that he sacrificed accuracy within the game to make a better joke, which is obviously the right thing to do. Cartman proceeds to bully our poor Butters into creating a new character. Meanwhile, Jenkins is massacring innocent players nearby. They suddenly spot him and start preparing for battle.
Roll over him with your mouse cursors! And... Right click!
The battle begins and we get some epic gameplay footage. Something really cool about all of this in-game footage that we get is every single character you see on the screen is controlled by a real-life person. Whether it's people who work for South Park Studios or people that Blizzard sent over, everyone is working together and playing the game at the same time to make this all happen. It's not just added animation or anything like that.
But I'm gonna poop on my pants.
Ike, look out!
A nerd fact here, Ike is actually the player in their group with the best gear. Most boys in the class are wearing a mishmash of leveling gear, but Ike is wearing the Devout set, which you can only get from endgame dungeons. God, I sound like a virgin. Anyways, I do wonder the thought process. Somebody at Blizzard probably thought making Ike, who literally poops his pants, have the best gear was a pretty funny inside joke. Oh yeah, this scene also gives us this gem.
All right, Clyde, hit him with your crossbow! Hit him now, Clyde! Clyde? Clyde!
Randy makes an appearance wanting to play with them, but by this point, the battle is already lost. This causes them to rage quit, and the boys decide to stop playing World of Warcraft. Except for Eric Cartman, of course. He's a lot of things, but he's no quitter. When someone wrongs him, he will go to extreme lengths to make that person suffer. He proposes them a wild idea that if they can't finish quests, they should just stay in the forest killing boars. Kyle lets him know that's insane because boars only give 2 experience points each.
Do you know how many we would have to kill to get up 30 levels? Yes. 65,340,285.
Some of you watching might be wondering if this is actually possible within the game. Oh, you weren't wondering? Too bad, because I'm going to tell you anyways. A YouTuber named Classic Wins made a video over 5 years ago and proved that it is technically possible to kill boars all the way to level 60. However, you would have to move around a bunch and kill many different kinds of boars all over the world. You wouldn't be able to sit down in one spot grinding them over and over again because there's a cap on XP if you're too high level against the monster you're killing. Just over-explaining something that doesn't matter at all, it's what I'm best at. Eric somehow convinces them to go through with this boar genocide plan. He's even calculated an entire schedule where it will take them over 7 weeks if they limit themselves to only 3 hours of sleep per night. I've seen some degenerate gamers in my years, none as dedicated as our heroes Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny. We get a quick update of the Blizzard staff who are pretty much in full panic mode. They come to the realization that if they don't stop this guy soon,
Gentlemen, this could very well lead to the end of the world of Warcraft. No! No!
We then get one of the most inspirational training montages in history. I mean, seriously, not even Rocky IV could compare to this legendary piece of media right here. It actually physically hurts me that I can't play any audio for this part due to the music, but it's Live to Win by Paul Stanley. Let me just say that this part hyped up every gamer in existence when they saw it. There's literally a 10-hour version on YouTube with 1.4 million views where all the comments are talking about this episode and how they're grinding a game to it. Just brings a tear to my eye. Turns out playing World of Warcraft every waking minute has some consequences. The boys start getting as fat as Cartman, and Cartman turns into Jabba the Hutt. You know, it's funny how a lot of people imagine gaming addicts who play this much to all be fat. I feel like the true degen gamers are all skin and bones because food is technically XP waste after all. Meanwhile, the Blizzard staff gets notified how the boys are leveling very quickly and they now have some hope, or a chance, for World of Warcraft to be saved. The staff looks into their characters and comes to the realization they're still not powerful enough to defeat Jenkins. So they try to come up with a way to help the boys when one of them suggests,
"What about the Sword of 1,000 Truths?"
Quiet, Thomas. We aren't to even speak of that sword.
We're told that when World of Warcraft was created, there was a sword so powerful it was removed from the game and stored on a 1 gig flash drive. The prophecy tells that one day players worthy of the sword might reveal themselves.
Who foretold this prophecy? Saltzman. He's in accounting.
I don't know why this part is so funny to me, just some random employee from accounting. The staff now has a goal to get this sword to the boys before they start the battle. The boys, being unaware of this, have already started preparing on their own. I love the little detail of Kenny having the most out-of-date computer. Kyle mentions that this fight could last for over 12 hours. What if they run out of food?
Ma'am?
Yes, hon.
More Hot Pockets!
Right away, hon.
That's uber cool.
The boys start hunting down Jenkins and they spot him in Goldshire. You might not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. They approach him and get ready for battle. We then see for the first time, Jenkins is actually taking this very seriously. He has now entered gremlin posture. Meanwhile, the Blizzard employees show up to Stan's house to try and deliver him the sword.
We are looking for a great knight by the name of Loves to Spooge.
His character's name earlier in the episode was actually Stan is Cool, so this is a little goof they forgot about. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I prefer Loves to Spooge anyways. They ask Randy where his son is and tell him that it's urgent. If they can't find Stan, then his character will die.
I want this one.
Oh my god.
They find out that Stan isn't home and they ask Sharon and she tells them he took his computer somewhere to play that stupid online game. They tell her that if they don't find Stan, his character is going to die.
So what?
So what?
One of the Blizzard guys says that if they can get to a computer, they can deliver the sword to Stan in the game. The only problem is,
I don't have a World of Warcraft account, do you? No, I have a life.
Randy, being the only one with an account, takes upon the responsibility to deliver this legendary weapon. Now they just have to get to a computer that works.
Please, it's an emergency! Come on!
By this point, the boys are very deep into their battle. Suddenly, Kyle gets injured. He apparently has a serious case of carpal tunnel.
Quick, we need men gang!
After pushing Kyle to keep on fighting, another issue arises.
I'm gonna have diarrhea again. You can't go to the bathroom, you're stacking Sunder Armor.
What Stan says here actually makes sense. Sunder Armor is an ability Cartman's character would have and be expected to use as a warrior. See, it's not like they got everything wrong. Anyways, Cartman has a solution to his diarrhea issue.
Mom, bathroom!
What, hon?
Bathroom! Bathroom!
Oh, that's a big boy, isn't he?
Doesn't even wipe. Right back to gaming, a true warrior right here. While driving, Randy spots a Best Buy and rushes inside.
Got to sign in.
I've seen this episode like 20 times and I've never noticed until analyzing it that the kid here is wearing Chin Pokemon merch. Am I the only one? There's also a sneaky reference to the Burning Crusade, which was WoW's first expansion being advertised at this time. The boys are losing the fight pretty badly by this point and Stan runs away to heal, when suddenly Randy arrives with the sword.
How do you hand something from one player to another?
As he hands it off, Randy is ruthlessly murdered. But with this new sword that will completely drain his mana, the boys now have the upper hand.
Looks like you're about to get pwned. Yeah!
This is followed by some elite roleplay by Randy and Stan. Most importantly, World of Warcraft has been saved.
What do we do now?
Such a good
what do you
episode,
mean?
man.
Now we can finally play
That
the
whole
game.
season.
Another
was great.
iconic line that lives on outside of the South Park fandom. The end credits roll and Make Love Not Warcraft would go down in history as the best gaming episode in all of television. So why did Trey Parker want to have this episode pulled?
And I was like, please, I was begging, and I was like, do not let this go on the air because I don't want the South Park legacy to be ruined, and this show is going to ruin it because it's so bad. I just went home and I was depressed and couldn't sleep, and I got up the next day and they're like, dude, people really like that show. And it was the show, it was about World of Warcraft.
It pretty much boils down to Trey being a perfectionist as well as suffering from imposter syndrome. It's not uncommon for him to hate his work. For this episode in particular, it was such a different type of production, he was deep in his head and overthinking it. There's a lot I couldn't cover during the analysis, so let's speedrun some of the other cool stuff about this episode. The Sword of 1,000 Truths is not a real sword, but the model for it is. It's called the Hungering Cold, and it comes from the last raid of 2006 called Naxxramas. Later on, this raid was updated in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, and another sword with the same model was released. This time it was called Slayer of the Lifeless. Do you guys get it? That which has no life? Slayer of Lifeless? It also has a note on it that reads, Foretold by Salzman. When the achievement system in the game released, one of the first to be added was called Make Love Not Warcraft. They also referenced the episode in dialogue throughout the game. If you couldn't tell, Blizzard loves this episode just as much as we do. Out of all the employees who were playing WoW at South Park Studios, Junichi Nishimura was considered the best player. This is an ex-roommate of Trey's who he later hired as an animator. He also did some voice work for South Park, most notably in the Chinpokomon episode.
Oh, you must have very big penis.
The storyline for Jenkins comes out of a player apparently logging into their alpha test server that wasn't a part of the team working on this episode.
Start their own server so that the people in the office and them could all get on it and do what we needed to do for the show. And at one point while we were doing that, this random character just showed up and started running around trying to kill people.
This episode is permanently free on South Park Studios, just like it's permanently free to click the like button on this video. Oh god, that was terrible. You gotta ask though, otherwise people won't do it. All in all, this is probably South Park's most well-known episode. It's my second favorite of all time. The only reason it's not first is because I'm obsessed with Christian Rockhard, which hey, speaking of, I made a video on that episode too, which should be popping up on your screen right now. If you guys are interested, give it a watch. If not, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for watching.
This is my friend Chris. From the outside, he looks like a regular guy, but he's secretly turned his passion for hunting for video games into $50,000 in profit last year, all while working a full-time job. Today, I'm taking you inside his business to see exactly how he did it, where he finds games, and how you can start doing the same.
All right, so we got a copy of 2K14, you know, a game worth virtually nothing. Sells for 18 bucks on Amazon.
So that's
Solid
11 bucks after fees. So that's a $7
Who's
profit,
buying
and
it
we're
for
like
18
5
on
minutes in.
Amazon?
Right, folks, so just some $7 lunch money from that first stop, but that's the first stop of many that Chris is going to take us on today, looking for that sweet, sweet video game profit.
See what we can find.
All right, stop number 2 is Cash America Pawn. Chris, what's the best thing you've ever found in this stop?
So one time I asked them if they had any games coming out, and they brought out a bunch of Game Boy games for $2 a piece.
Solid. Finding anything in there?
Another 2K14 looks to be our bread and butter.
Okay, nice. Jeez, you said that was a 20th anniversary.
I think it's 20th anniversary.
PS4 for 1,200 bucks. Do you mess much with consoles?
Try not to, unless it's a killer deal.
All right, so we had some decent luck in that Cash America here. What are we looking at here,
Not too
Chris?
bad. Some more 2K14 grails for a couple bucks a piece.
And that goes for
You got $9 each on those. So
after fees on Amazon to flip those.
a couple copies of Skyrim.
Oh dang, I didn't realize you got 2.
Quick flip those for what'd you say, 13 bucks?
13 bucks on quick
13
flips?
bucks. I paid $13 for the stack, so.
You paid, I
too
think it was
bad.
12. Oh, after tax.
12, yeah.
So how many people do you think have walked
Yeah, I mean,
by
I guess
these
they're
games
games, but
in
those are
this pawn
small
shop?
games.
These two, probably thousands.
Yeah,
Maybe he's
These
just
two,
started,
sports
you know?
games.
Maybe 10, 20 people at least.
So what everyone else, including the pawn shop, thought was junk, literally sold you for $3 a piece.
You have $6 profit, $6 profit, $10 profit, $10 profit with a combination of Amazon and quick flips.
Yeah.
So we're on our way to another Cash America and then another Goodwill. You were telling me though off camera that last year, this is your side hustle.
Yeah.
And it netted you what, $40,000, $50,000?
Yeah, basically going out 3 days a week and then maybe spend a couple hours listing stuff on
There you
Amazon.
go, he's not even
So
doing
how
it
much
full
total
time.
time are you putting into this every week?
I would say under 20 hours. I do mortgages. Yeah, I just picked this up as kind of a side hustle and it kind of took off. You know, it started off mostly hitting a lot of Goodwills, trying to find the best deals possible.
And how much of it is the video games that we're hunting for today?
Probably like 80 to 90%, just because I enjoy hunting video games.
Yeah.
You know, watching you kind of sparked it for me. And it's easy stuff to flip, easy stuff to send to Amazon.
All right, so just pulled up to Cash America number 2, but I've got a question for you because at every one of these stops that we've gone to, and we haven't shown a couple on camera that we didn't find anything at, we've rolled up and you've been like, oh, there's really cheap Wii games at this one, or there's cheap consoles at that one, or they'll hook me up at this one. How do you know all this stuff?
You gotta keep coming back, get to know people, you know the prices, you know what they price stuff at. I've got a good relationship with the guy in here. He calls me if they get really cool stuff, so.
You were telling me you go out sourcing
Connections
pretty much
too.
the same route every single week.
Yeah,
Make friends
every
with
Friday.
the store owners, the store employees.
Ooh, hold up, folks. I actually kind of need an extension cord. This might be a solid deal. I think he's going to go ask about that Switch Lite. They've got 80 bucks on it. We're going to see if they would do 60 because you can quick clip that for 90. So we'll see.
No. What do you think?
Yeah, 70.
Nothing? 70?
Yeah.
I do 70 on that. Could you do 15 on this?
Sure.
Oh, hold up. We can actually always use more box cutters. I may $3 each. I may actually pull the trigger on some of these too. It's going to be the randomest pawn shop haul I've ever gotten. All right, so Chris, what was the story of that stop? What happened?
So we got a few things. First of all, we got Spider-Man. Got it for $5. Quick flip it to you for I think 13 bucks. Easy $8. Then they had this Switch that was already marked down to 80 bucks. And I asked if they do 60 and they couldn't do 60. So I met at 70, but then he gave me this for half off.
You used an awesome negotiation technique that I caught there. I don't know if I had the camera on you, but you got 20 bucks off and 10 bucks off. Just really well done, man. It was cool to see.
Basically got this for free.
How much do you think that's gonna make? Did you look it up?
No, I didn't. I would say around 40 bucks. Fire Emblem games do pretty well. So, I mean, basically got this for free after flipping that to you.
Dude, you're crushing it. So folks, we just looked it up. $45 profit on this stop. Little did we know it, but that Fire Emblem game goes for $37 after fees on Amazon. I mean, we've been at it for like an hour. And the best part was, while he was going ham on the video game section, I got myself a little extension cord haul. paid $20 for 2 lovely extension cords, and get this, 3 box cutters, which we always need more of around the business. So I'm on top of the world right now. So we're pulling up to a Goodwill right now that I actually used to hit back in the day when I was doing like thrifting routes and pawn shop routes around this town. Chris, you've mentioned you sell on Amazon, you sell on Quick Flips. Do you sell on any other platforms?
Also some stuff on Marketplace. And I mean, if it's a good enough deal, I'm obviously gonna sell it on eBay too.
So you've got potentially 4 different outs for every bit of video game or Pokemon card or whatever inventory that you're selling.
Yeah, basically. Sending stuff through Quick Flips is usually the easiest way. It's fast money. I send it, he gets it within like 2 days. I'm paid usually within 3. So depending on what I get stuff for, I've got usually Wii stuff for sure. He pays really well on. You got any Wii stuff, Wii Sports? You're not selling it for more anywhere else.
Love it. Let's see if we can find something here. So what's your Goodwill strategy?
Usually Goodwills, I'm trying to be in and out within a couple minutes just to get in and see what they have. There's usually not a lot of hidden stuff. I'm sure you can find deals, but...
Kind of a lower hit rate.
Yeah, basically you walk in, you pretty much know if you found something within a couple minutes.
What's the best find you've ever had at a Goodwill?
So right whenever Deadpool was blowing up, I found it at a Goodwill for $0.25. And it was the only game there, so somebody donated 1 game, and I was only there to meet somebody to buy some original Xbox games.
Wow.
And I went in to get change.
Opportunity really is everywhere, folks. All right, so folks, we do officially have some games here at this.
There is a Deadpool game that got delisted like years ago before they started making the movie, and it shot up in price. It was ridiculous. I'm also an idiot. I got my girlfriend got it for me for Christmas one. Bought like $5 at GameStop. Then of course I got rid of it stupidly, and then it shot up.
Goodwill, but it's
I'm an idiot.
championship pool and hole-in-one golf. Looks like they've got them priced at $5.99 a piece, so we're probably gonna pass. So that was literally a total of probably 3-4 minutes that we just spent in there.
Yeah.
But folks, this is the third spot that we've been to today and found absolutely nothing. One thing that I actually told my team earlier this week is one of our mantras is fail fast, and I'm realizing that actually is definitely the case in sourcing as well, right? You don't want to spend a lot of time in the stops that aren't going to have anything great for you. Take a quick cruise around and then get the heck out of there if there's nothing to be had. Chris, what do you think the people who are just starting out or who aren't very good yet at flipping video games, what are they doing wrong that you're doing right?
A lot of people have the misconception they can just go to a game store and find deals on stuff, flip it on Amazon immediately, when that's really not the case. You really want to source at stores that do more bulk pricing. So like every game in there is $5. Then you can really find some gems. It's a lot tougher finding stuff at game stores. Everybody wants to go there and buy all the Pokemon games and sell them for double online, but unfortunately it's not that easy. I'm a big believer in GameStop, so you can find a lot of good deals at GameStop, and also they pay really well for a lot of trade-ins, like consoles and stuff.
Right.
So because of that, I can usually get trade credit at half off, and then I can buy something that's 70% value, and I'm really only buying it at about 35% value.
You were telling me that they pay, what was it, like $250 for broken PS5s?
Yeah.
And you'll often source those at pawn shops because their clientele doesn't want to buy a broken PS5. So you might get it for 50, 60, 70 bucks and make a couple $100 in one go. And that's just because you have a deep knowledge of GameStop's trade-in system.
Everybody's got stuck in their brain that GameStop doesn't pay anything, they screw you over for all your stuff. And I'm like, well, times kind of changed, so.
So with your multiple years of experience in the industry, what's the best kind of stuff to trade into GameStop?
Newer consoles.
First cash pawn, what's best case scenario in here?
So usually in here I'll find some Switch games. Sometimes I'll get some PS4 or something, but a lot of times they get a lot of consoles in here. They've had multiple 3DSs, but they've always had a price to market value, so.
You truly never know. That's the beauty of this job, folks. No way. No way.
Would you have ever thought?
I've seen like 3 of these in my life.
It's the only one I've ever seen.
Holy cow, has this been here?
Nah, not long.
Just got some crinkling and stuff there.
There's really not a big use for it. It's just really rare, uncommon.
I was looking in the case to see if there was a controller with it, because the controller is really valuable too.
Yeah.
Don't see it though. What would someone have to offer to take it from you guys?
I mean, it's such a niche item. Like,
Let's put it on a shelf.
It's gonna be here for a while.
Is it like tested and working? Is this tested and working?
Yeah, I checked it out to see if it was working before.
It like plays a GameCube game and everything?
Yeah.
Let's see if I could offer like, I mean, I don't want to lowball you guys.
I already feel like you're about to. I feel it. Like I feel it.
What about 250?
Yeah, that's low ball.
What would you guys want? Like, what range would you want to be in? 5.
Put it in layaway for 5.
Okay. Oh, well, folks, I cannot remember the last time I lowballed someone that hard for an item. 250 bucks. When they make you make the first offer, sometimes you have to baseline them a little bit low. Given that there are so many issues with those things, I wouldn't want to be into it for really more than 300 or so. And another big tip is like, this is something that I think collectors will face if they're getting into reselling, is getting a little bit romantic about the items, but not looking enough at the bottom line and getting trapped in hard items, right? Like he said he would have taken 500 bucks. That could look like a good deal if you're seeing comps at like 800, 900 for perfectly working condition ones. But if you're not factoring in the cosmetic wear or the risk of it not working somehow, you could definitely get trapped in a rough situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Here we are, folks, back again, Half Price Books number 2. But first, Chris, I've got to know the story behind the car, man.
So I got it for 500 bucks. I was driving around a Camaro, got about 10 miles to the gallon, hitting all these stops, getting all these marketplace deals, and the gas was just killing me. And then my brother-in-law had this for sale. He just got his truck fixed, got it for 500 bucks, got 200,000 miles on it, 40 miles to the gallon, no AC, but who needs it? We got windows.
That's amazing. That's another common trait I've seen among the most successful resellers I've known, is this like persistent thriftiness. And when I got into that car and the window didn't roll up right and there was no AC, I knew you were cut from the same cloth. Let's see what we can find in here.
What state are they in? That's what I gotta know.
All right, so off rip, what are you
sound
seeing?
windy.
Over here, got sealed Minecraft. I'll probably look that up. Got sealed Yoshi's Woolly World.
Okay, so sealed games do well for you on Amazon?
Yeah, really well. And below that, we got a couple Mario Karts.
Mm-hmm.
Quick flip those right to you. some more lunch money.
So I see we've got $25 on this. Would you quick flip that? Because I want to say Quick Flips is paying like 26.
Maybe. We'll see if I can get a little bit better deal. If not, if I get enough stuff, I've got a 25% off, which will definitely make it worthwhile.
So Chris has got not only the Half Price Books coupon system super optimized, but he also is friendly with some of the management, which helps a ton. That's actually been a consistent trend, not just at this stop, but also some of the pawn shops as well. Oh, dang, this is the Minecraft?
Yes.
$49 after fees in new condition. They're asking $30. That's an instant $19 profit.
If I can use my 25% off, there's a lot of good stuff here.
I thought he was gonna get it for 15 or something
too already. So
I love it. Yeah,
That's
put
insane.
together. It's all a little bundle deal.
yeah,
Go
those
ahead.
are the kind of things I'll look on Quick Flips and see what I can flip those straight to you.
John
for.
Bob, what's
Condition
up?
Looks pretty good.
Like
Prices look pretty good.
The big IPs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of the big
$15 for Donkey Kong Country and $20 for Kong Country 2, especially if you're getting 25% off.
Right here on Quick Flips, we got $18 for Donkey Kong Country. I got it for 15. If I get 25% off of that also.
Right, that's even more money.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you another one that's really good is Champions of Norath here. I want to
Love
say
that
Quick
game.
Flips is paying in the $30 range, but if you're getting 25% off, could be pretty solid. Granted, I haven't checked that price in a while. Okay, 28, so not quite, but at 25% off, still a little bit of meat there.
Yeah. So we got Rocksmith Remastered. I had an Xbox One.
Rocksmith Remastered, $94?
Yeah.
Are you serious, dude? They're asking 25?
That's a huge one to look out for at game stores too. Most game stores sell it for $10. On PS4,
No
it's worth
kidding.
more.
Oh, I found another little
Dude,
$3
remember that
quick flip
one.
profit here. Bakugan Battle Brawlers is a weird one. Quick Flips buys for $8. Oh, that's in loose condition though. This one's complete, so we're looking at a little $4 profit before discount, so not bad. There's a little $4 bill for your pile there, sir.
Appreciate it, man. I'll send it right back to you. So, so we got College Hoops 2K7. OK sales rank 65,000. Sells for $45, $33.
Priced at 15, 33 after fees.
It's a nice double up and then some.
Let's go. Chris, check this out. I caught you sleeping over here. These Skyrim games in here.
Yeah.
These Switch games.
That's funny. I tried to make a play on those last time I was here.
Did you really?
Yeah, but he was telling me the Switch games sell really well. And now there's 3 of them selling too. So.
At 30 a piece. Did you look them up then?
I didn't even look them up.
Okay, because they're going for 35 a piece after fees on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
So if you're getting like, 15, 20% off, like...
I'll get at least 2 of them.
Yeah, let's go. Why wouldn't you get all 3?
I'll try to leave one behind. I don't want to be that guy. He said they sell pretty well. Switch stuff.
That's nice. So how many did they have here last time?
Some more fish
Last
in
time
the
they had
pond.
2 and I was going to get 1 of them. He was like, oh, those sell pretty well. So
And now they have 3?
Yeah, so it's like now you got to at least tell me
You'd
one.
be doing them a favor to pick them all up, man. Come on.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's like, well, must be
Like,
nice
bro,
to
I
have
don't
all
even-
the connections
I'm
that you
so
have
off.
with the store manager.
Like I haven't kept up with a lot. I don't know what an oats plate is.
Yeah.
It was just me coming in
But
here
yeah,
all
this
the
is
time.
like I've
to
had
a
this
point where
account
they'd See
forever.
me, and they're like, hey, we got some other games coming out. You want to see those? 'Cause they're used to seeing me buy all the games, and it takes a while.
I'm gonna have to do
And you
some
treat
research
people
on
right,
that.
Yeah, you treat people right. They
Yeah,
treat
there's
you
double
right.
XP right
He's
now.
a big Super
Trying to
Nintendo collector.
get some
And I gave
games.
him the Jetsons on Super Nintendo for free.
The manager is?
Yeah.
You gave him a Jetsons on Super Nintendo.
Which
for
is like
free.
a $120 game. And I gave it to him
What's
for
up,
free
Mortal?
because I was like,
I'd
I got
say
it
hi.
for next
What's
to
up?
nothing.
Yeah.
And I knew he was real big into it. And ever since then, man, it really paid dividends. He was real cool about it. He always hooks me up. So
Oh my
he had given
gosh,
me deals
dude.
before then too. So
See, no one's out here doing that stuff. I'm always telling people, like,
yeah,
let people know that
Hoping
you
to get
care
it to
about them.
80.
Bring some donuts,
Wait,
like
what am-
anything.
yeah, bring some lunch coupons, whatever.
I'm trying to
like
get my mining to
somebody's
80 at least with this
$120
double
game,
XP.
folks, and it's paying
Now,
off.
smithing, I'm at
That's gonna pay
78.
for itself today, probably.
Probably easily.
Thought I was that
Insane.
high.
The other important thing to note is we're about to
I'll
clear
probably be working
a
on
bunch
that
of
next.
stuff out
That's
of
where I'm gonna be
this
putting all these
little
minerals.
case here, folks. But look at all the stuff that we're about to leave behind.
Look at these
Like,
guys hanging out.
all of these games are games that we have looked at and scanned and are passing on. Folks, this is a volume game. It's not just like walk into a store and instantly come out with profit. You have to put in the work and the reps and the effort to know what the heck you're looking at for all of this stuff in order to come out with a big haul like we're about to.
I want to know where they are. I need
Chris
to find
is
more
on
shops
his way
like
to
that
check
around
out
me.
over there, and this case is a good bit emptier than when we found it. Uh-oh, just caught Chris slipping a
selection.
little bit. Fallout 4 is another one. Goes for $12 on Quick Flips. They've got it for 10. Well, folks, this was the haul. coming out of Half Price Books. You said you saved $56 on this stuff.
25% off coupon.
Before we calculate everything, though, we're gonna pop on over right to GameStop, literally next door, and see if they might have any deals for us too. So folks, later on, we're gonna go back to Chris's office and he's gonna take us through kind of his selling setup and how he determines what goes where. But as we head into this GameStop, what are some things that we're looking for?
GameStop, really retro stuff. They underprice a lot of their retro stuff.
Okay.
And a lot of it is priced as if it were loose. So if you can find anything complete in here, usually it's pretty solid.
Wow, okay.
This is actually not a bad little Amazon flip here. 17 bucks, pro member price. It's complete in there. And looks like 29 after fees on Amazon. So didn't come out with much from that one, but you were telling me that different employees actually will give significantly different results. What's that about?
So a lot of employees will tell you to go to the retro store, they don't have anything. But some employees will be like, oh yeah, we have stuff, we just haven't shipped it to the retro store yet.
It's in the drawers behind the counter.
Yeah, they'll keep it in the drawer and they'll let you like look at it or print you out a list at least.
Interesting. And that employee happened not to, which is a big reason we didn't have much of a shot.
Yeah. They might have had something in there, but I guess I'll figure out if there's somebody new working next time.
Again, folks, it's all just a matter of consistency. You have to do it a bunch of times to even realize something like that. Yeah. All right, so folks, literally on our lunch break, Chris is here scrolling Facebook Marketplace like a madman. What did you find here?
So we got 2 PS2 Slims, a PS3, and a Wii. Decent amount of games. Nothing too crazy.
DDR.
This one probably Wii Sports Resort up there.
Dude, remember DDR?
This got posted for $80. I wrote them. See what happens. It's kind of across town, so not a huge deal if nothing happens.
You normally are doing a good bit of deals on Facebook Marketplace, right? Like multiple times a week.
Yeah, not so much throughout the day. Not a lot gets posted throughout the day. It's mostly like on the weekend or in the afternoon when people are home. But yeah, I'll probably say I do 5 to 10 a week. Easily.
5 to 10 a week.
Sometimes like 3 or 4 in a day.
And what would you say to all the folks out there who are like, no, you can't mess with Facebook Marketplace, like it's too competitive, stuff gets snatched up too quick, it's not possible?
It is very competitive. That's why you gotta write people immediately, maybe write them twice and offer more money. If somebody posts a really good lot for 75 bucks, offer them $100. It might be a $400 lot. Stop being greedy.
And you gotta move quick, right?
Very fast, yeah. Write people multiple times.
I'm on my way.
Yeah, get their address, that way they can't bail on you. If you're meeting at a Myers, they're like, oh, I just won't go to Myers instead. And you're out basically. So
this is gold, folks. All right, let's dig in. So folks, we just broke it down. Half Price Books, easily the most profitable stop of the day so far. We actually split it up by category here. So all of these games in this stack are like $4, $5, $5, etc. in quick flips profit. These are all going to quick flips for a total $28 profit after discount. But this stack of a couple sealed gems and one insane like $60 profit game, this is going to go for $120 in profit, which brings our total for the day to a whopping, what was it, 234?
Yeah, I think so.
And you said that on an average day like this that you're going out, your goal is around 300 bucks in profit.
Yeah, if I'm going out hitting all these stops, I want to be around the $300 mark. That's usually where I end up.
Boy, for lunchtime, how does this compare to average?
It's pretty good, pretty good. Usually Half Price Books is the best, so we'll have to see what we can find after this.
I love it. Where are we heading next?
Another pawn shop.
On our way to the next pawn shop, Chris agreed to take me inside his basement business and give me an idea of how he actually sells all this stuff. Once you're back here at the homestead, what is your process for actually like sorting through all this stuff and determining where it all goes?
So usually the first thing I'll do is I'll look it up on Quick Flip, see about what I could get. You see $6, it's not on the hot list, so it might not be the best thing to sell there.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll go over to my Amazon seller app, see what it's selling for on Amazon. It's got a great sales rank, so $16.76, $9.30. So this one will be one that I'd sell on Amazon. Get the sticker off. Obviously you don't want to send it to somebody who's paying $15 with a $6 sticker on it.
Yeah.
I'll go down here, get one of these little baggies, because if you don't do this, Amazon's gonna slap a fat sticker right on the cover of it, and it'll probably get returned because they can't get it off. Put it in a poly bag, close it off. I'll go over here on the seller list, create a batch. So I'll go right here, and I'll probably list it at $16.49. Breaks my profit down right below $9. Fine with me, it'll sell fast.
So Chris, you were just kind of breaking down that Facebook deal. It could have been theoretically a pretty good pickup, right? 80 bucks for a few systems, a bunch of games, like there was Wii Sports Resort in there, but you decided not to go for it this afternoon. Why was that?
I mean, it's about 30 minutes, 45 minutes away. You got to go over the bridge to Indiana.
Yep.
I would say it's a decent deal. I probably would have made my money back and then some on just the games. So then I have all the consoles to do whatever with, but wasn't in the cards for us.
Well, and you said it's kind of a long drive. You don't know whether the consoles work. There's a good chance that they won't.
Right.
And we're gonna have to give up all of that time, which we're likely to find some good stuff. Like this is what all of business is, folks. It's just trade-offs. It's just like cost-benefit analysis. For our purposes today, being able to get to a lot of stops and showcase a lot of tips, it didn't work out as well. But like maybe on a different day when that's not as much of a priority, it would have made more sense.
Yeah, if I was sitting at home, I probably would have offered her $100 and went and got it immediately.
Yeah.
But us already being out and we have some more stops to make, we would have been way out of the way, would have threw the rest of the day off. Really wasn't worth it to me.
And that's exactly the kind of like sort of high level decision making that just the more you do this, again, it comes back to the reps that you put in, the number of at-bats you have, the better you're going to get at making those decisions and making the small right call a bunch of times in a row. I have to say, I have never discovered this little place here, Middleton Trading Co. It's just this little hole in the wall pawn shop that I'm honestly pretty excited to explore here.
Interesting.
This pawn shop was tiny, but was packed with cool stuff and a ton of video games. Shortly after we got in, the owner, who again recognized Chris, brought out a bin of rare Sega games that hadn't even hit the floor yet. The owner was super cool and showed us some more stuff in the back room, so after pulling out some of the games that he was most interested in, it was time for Chris to start making some offers. Okay, so what's the situation with these?
These are both over $100.
$100.
Yeah, I think Pac-Man wasn't that great.
Okay, so you're just gonna see like what they're asking, where they're at.
Yeah.
And all this stuff over here you're not really interested in?
Nah, there's a lot of sports stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the cases actually hold some value, but...
What about this one? Donald Duck?
Didn't even look it up.
Throw that on the stack at least. I bet that's decent with the... I mean, these boxes are like pristine.
No, it's kind of surprising.
All right, so how'd that turn out?
Seemed pretty solid. 120 bucks or 130 bucks for all these.
Okay.
I think this one's around $100 on its own, so
that's honestly like based on how the negotiation was going, I didn't think it would be that good because they were looking up every single thing.
You never know. They're pretty cool in there, but he also say he's trying to grow his eBay store, which makes it a little tricky.
That's always a bad sign.
I did have to put one back. He was a little high on that one.
Yeah.
I didn't look up sold counts. I just looked them up on price charting, so hopefully it's pretty accurate. $11 after fees. So.
Okay, 11 after fees, and we got 2 of those.
Yeah, so that's $6 a piece. That's a quick flip right there.
This one you said was like...
Price chart was like $100. I mean, it's got a crack in it, but it's pretty clean.
Okay, so you're probably getting at least 90
Part
on that.
of the alien.
Yeah, you paid 130 for everything?
For Sega.
Okay. So yeah, especially if you count this, which quick flips for what, 25, 20?
I think 22, 20, somewhere around there.
So that basically leaves these 2 games as the profit of the deal if you break even on everything else. They're super clean, so let's look these up on the way to the next stop. All right, so we're outside of yet another Cash America, and I just looked these 2 up on the way. So this Sonic is solidly in the like $80 range in complete condition. That's the good news there. This one, this Castle of Illusion, I literally couldn't find a single comp for in complete condition. I looked it up on price charting, no data.
Interesting.
So I don't know, you guys may have to let us know in the comments. Have you ever sold one of these? What did it go for? This one is in beautiful shape. But I think that might be a really good sign for you. That could have been a solid deal. So we're looking at, we'll say conservatively, just $80 profit on that last stop.
Yeah.
Which would put us at over your goal. I think that puts us at what, like 315? Not too bad of a day, and we've still got this Cash America to go, folks. Seeing anything in the console section over there?
That SNES Mini's not bad.
Okay.
I got banned from selling those on Amazon, so.
Really?
Yeah.
See, Game Party. That's not
2 and 3 are decent.
Yep. We were just talking and realized that somehow we've both found 3DS XLs at this pawn shop in the past, so they definitely get stuff.
Yeah.
And if you were someone who gives up easily and came out here, right, and saw this, right, you'd probably throw your hands up and be like, these places don't have anything good.
Never come back.
Yeah, but they do have good stuff. You just have to keep coming. All right, what's the deal with this GameStop?
So this is the retro GameStop in Louisville. They carry most of the retro stuff. You know, you find stuff at all of them, but this one has like a dedicated section just full of like mostly 360 and PS3. But
okay.
You might get lucky and find some gem.
Anything over here?
At least get that.
Chrono Trigger's not bad.
Oh yeah.
I actually found that complete
Lay down,
box at a GameStop.
Yeah, lay down,
long
Fred.
ago.
Okay, $70. That is not one you see every day.
So my philosophy at GameStop is usually I'm getting trade credit for half price. I'll trade in a Series S I pick up for $100. I'll trade it in for 200, 220, whatever. So I'm basically buying that for about $55.
All right, you find a little gold there?
Yeah. So it sells for 70 for 54 after fees. Get it for 40.
54?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Get it for 40, which means I'm really getting it for about 20 with my trade credit.
All right, folks, the Prince of Profit has struck again. What'd you pick up in there?
Just got me a Family Guy.
No,
Got this, $40. I had trade credit. I still got like $800 in trade credit left.
So that only brings our total up to what, like $325 or so in
maybe a
profit? Because it
little
was
more.
like, that was like,
Yeah, this
if
was
you don't
selling-
factor in the trade credit.
Yeah.
It was like a $10 profit.
17, I think.
Oh, okay.
54, about $14.
Okay.
Not bad.
Solid. So like 330 or so, if I haven't done my math wrong, which I think Riff will tell you. I'm always good on math. I math good. So Chris, if someone's
I
watching
math
this
good.
and they're just starting out, they're thinking about dipping their toes into flipping video games. They don't have a lot of money.
Yep.
What would your recommendation for them be? How should they start?
Goodwills and yard sales.
Okay.
You can find pretty much the same stuff, maybe not as quality, but the price is always right. I mean, yard sales, you're gonna find stuff for $1 to $1. You're rarely ever gonna find a game over $5. And some Goodwills, you're gonna find stuff priced market value, but most of them, they're probably gonna be a couple dollars also.
And you still are finding games at Goodwills even in 2025?
Oh yeah.
So if you've got more time than you have money,
Yeah.
then you need to spend more time to spend less money.
Yeah, make a route of all the Goodwills and just drive around to them.
Here's our next stop, folks. Let's see if we can score again. Now at this point, I thought we had done great at all the stops
I
we'd
used to
made,
have that
but
Sonic
our
Adventure
final
3.
pawn shop really delivered. Now our mics were down here, but I walked in on a red GBA SP with 4 games. Now, a couple of the games were pretty suspect, but again, Chris knew the managers, so our negotiations for this whole lot went pretty smooth. And on our way out, the manager even hit Chris with an offer he couldn't refuse. All right, Chris, walk me through. What the heck did you just buy here?
All right, so best game of all time, pretty much.
4th copy that we bought today.
Yeah, man, it's easy, like $8 every time. Got this SP, it's a little sticky. Definitely needs to be cleaned off. Dead as a doorknob. Got it for $80 with the games. Classic Over the Hedge. That's definitely authentic.
That thing's jank.
I'm sending that right to Quick Flips. But luckily we did have some good games. This was okay.
And this one quick flips for 90.
Yeah, 90, so that pays for it. Basically got these games for free.
Yeah, and that was kind of part of the negotiation. Like he technically got this for like 60, he said, out the door.
Yeah.
And then $5 a piece on those games, which some of them were going for crazy numbers.
Yeah. Well, the one Sonic Advance 3, you quick flip this. I'm already making $20 with you.
Yeah, so
that's $20, and the other one was selling for like $70. Not this other fake copy of Ultimate Alliance, but
yeah, that one's not real.
Combo pack.
Yeah, that was like a $60 game as well.
Yeah, on Amazon.
Crazy, man.
Pretty uncommon. I looked up on Price Chart, it's like $40.
Did you look up that Dragon Ball one?
I didn't. I looked it up on Price Chart and it was like $10.
Oh, okay.
Curious to see what
Ultimate
it does
Alliance on the Game Boy
And the part that we
Advance.
never recorded is he was talking all about how like they're trying to move their aged inventory, they're trying to do more layaways because they've got a competition, and you ended up getting a PSVR 2 that was marked at $160 for how much?
$50.
$50.
Put it on layaway. That's the pawn shop cheat code.
Crazy.
Put stuff on layaway, help your pawn shop people out. Come pick it up the next day if you want to.
They're having like a competition for who can do the most layaways. It's like, the same amount of money. But I mean, I guarantee you can part that thing out even if part of it doesn't work for over 100 easy, right?
Yeah, I could probably put it on Marketplace for $150 and have somebody pick it up immediately.
No way.
I guarantee it.
Okay, we'll count that as $100 profit. So that puts us, hold on, I've got to do some mental math. Thank you very much to this Cash America for putting us officially at over the $500 mark for the day. Suddenly, that $50K that you netted last year is starting to make a lot of sense. $517 in total profit. Now, as much value as Chris had provided up until this point in this video game flipping masterclass, I still had another question to ask him, and for that, we went back to his basement game room. All right, so Chris, I'm curious, you've got a killer game room. We just had a $500 profit sourcing day. You're obviously super successful. What's your end game with all this?
My end game isn't really to do this forever. I prefer to do it more as a collector instead of a reseller. But like we had talked about before, I do mortgages part-time. End game is to get back to doing that full-time whenever the market gets a little better and I can kind of lay back a little bit on this and not have to worry about reselling so much.
Is this a path that is feasible for the average person?
Yeah, you just got to put the work in. A lot of people don't want to. They just want to go straight to the pawn shop, straight to the Goodwill, and find a great deal. Get there and find this big old stack of GameCube games. And get a Gale of Darkness for $1.50 or something.
Right, that sounds pretty nice.
It's just not feasible.
That's amazing, man. Well, I love to see you crushing it. Your story inspires me, so keep up the good work, dude.
I'm happy to do it anytime.
Folks, this is not the first ride-along I have done with a home-based video game resale business. If you want to see another one, check out this video right down here. I think you're going to love it.
Yeah, dude, I can watch these all day. I get so addicted.
When I make jokes, they are inherent to a story.
I want to
Deep,
start my own
situational and
resale
emotional
journey.
jokes based on what is relevant and has a point.
Because this is the episode where we rip on Family Guy. And so everyone, that's what most people want to talk to us about, you know, going, do you really not like Family Guy, or are you? And I just want to say for the record right now, like, we've seen Family Guy. We do hate Family Guy.
Really, Matt Groening is a friend of mine. I have nothing but warm feelings about that show.
What about South Park?
They can go to hell.
South Park versus Family Guy is one of television's longest rivalries. It all began in 2006 when South Park aired episode 1 of their two-parter titled Cartoon Wars. Both of these episodes are actually banned now. And no, it's not because of Seth, he's not that petty.
Ow! Trey! Come on, Matt. Just relax and let it happen.
This is a deleted scene from a season 6 Family Guy episode. Seth MacFarlane probably realized a gay joke wasn't very effective considering these two have literally made out in a feature-length film. Okay, we're already getting off topic. Why are these two episodes banned? Well, the idea came from a 2005 controversy. A Danish newspaper published 12 editorial cartoons depicting Muhammad, the prophet or founder of Islam. This sparked protests around the world, and some escalated into full-blown riots and even violence carried out by extremist groups. This is because in Islam, visually depicting Muhammad, especially in a comedic context, is considered blasphemous. Even a show like South Park wouldn't dare depict Muhammad. Oh, what's that? They did? All the way back in 2001? He's also in this intro that was used for years. So yeah, Super Best Friends had years of reruns, Muhammad was put in an intro for years, not a speck of controversy. Fast forward to 2006, Matt and Trey want to do another Muhammad episode, except this time, it's not okay. But Trey Parker tried really hard to make this happen.
As we were making the show, the argument was still going on with Comedy Central. You know, we were still saying, well, can we show Muhammad this way? Can we show him that way? Can we show a guy that says, I'm Muhammad, and then we say he's not, you know, and all of this stuff.
Comedy Central wasn't budging, so they did the next best thing. They used satire, social commentary, and crafted us a brilliant two-parter on censorship, extremism, and fear. But of course, 95% of people watching were just extremely hyped that South Park called out Family Guy. So in this video, we'll be exploring these two episodes, the relationship between South Park and Family Guy, as well as the effect this censorship still has, even 20 years later. I've been wanting to cover these episodes since I first created my channel, so I hope you guys enjoy. Here is Cartoon Wars.
You think that's bad? Remember when I auditioned to be David Hasselhoff's car?
The episode begins in a very chaotic way, with Randy in a full-blown panic. This scene pretty much looks like the start of every zombie apocalypse movie ever. It's just perfect how this guy is holding toilet paper. If COVID taught us anything, it's that when the world is in crisis, you better be damn sure that you have your toilet paper hoarded up. Most of the town rushes to the community center to get to safety, as if we needed any more reason to hate Butters' parents.
I gotta run back
Oh my
downstairs.
God,
Hold on.
Stephen, we've left Butters.
We can't go back out there, Linda. It's too late for him.
The boys still have no idea what's going on by this point when Randy breaks the news to them. He tells them that a cartoon is about to air on American television with the Muslim prophet Muhammad as a character.
So?
Stan's reaction here is not far off from how most of the world felt when they learned about the Muhammad cartoon controversy. Randy goes on to say that Muhammad is sacred to the Muslim people and that ever since those cartoons were published in Denmark, the rules have changed. So right off the bat, they're already referencing the Danish cartoons that caused all this outrage and gave them the idea for this episode. Here's what Matt Stone had to say about the controversy.
It was so strange to watch a new taboo being basically formed. And that taboo being formed by people getting threatened by violence if they were to put Muhammad in their cartoon.
Gerald asks Randy which cartoon would be so insensitive to have Muhammad as a character.
Family Guy!
The town starts asking each other why Family Guy would do something so terrible, and Randy starts going off saying how Family Guy doesn't care who they insult, they just care about their precious money. They're using Family Guy as the template, but they satirize their own show a lot throughout this episode as well. Stan finds this whole thing ridiculous, wondering if people are actually going to be that pissed off about a cartoon. Someone gets the TV working, and we see a news report on the situation. We learn that the announcement of Muhammad being shown on Family Guy has already sparked chaos all over the Middle East.
Muslim terrorist al-Zawahiri made this statement.
First of all, the fake subtitles are one of the funniest parts of this episode. This was a real guy though. Al-Zawahiri was pretty much bin Laden's right hand. He was seen as the brains of Al-Qaeda and their main strategist. After bin Laden's death in 2011, Zawahiri became Al-Qaeda's leader, until he got wrecked by a drone strike in 2022. I always wonder if he or bin Laden ever saw these episodes, which sounds crazy at first. But when you realize they found terabytes of media on his hard drive, it's really not impossible that at least someone at his compound saw these episodes. I mean, the dude was playing Final Fantasy, Counter-Strike, GTA, and watching documentaries about himself. It could have been his kids, obviously, but it's a lot funnier to imagine Osama bin Laden watching Chicken Little. Anyways, Linda asks what they should do next. The town is obviously expecting some type of terrorist attack, and Randy gives us one of his best lines in the entire show.
If we're still alive in the morning, then we'll know we're not dead.
They wake up the next morning and realize everything is fine. Apparently, Fox Network decided to censor Muhammad at the last second. The boys decide to go to Kyle's house to see how Family Guy censored this. Kyle apparently TiVos every episode of the show, which of course disgusts Cartman. We then get to see what Family Guy looks like in the South Park universe.
You think that's bad? Remember when I auditioned to be David Hasselhoff's car? Hey there, Knight Rider.
After those bad guys, Kit.
So in the very first clip, we can already see what South Park is making fun of. Gags or cutaways. This is the main reason Matt and Trey hate Family Guy, and they certainly aren't hiding it.
There's one thing we always try to avoid in South Park is gags. No matter what you're talking about and how deep of an issue or whatever character arc or whatever it is, they're just throwing out a gag. And it's just like, yeah, and then he says this. And it's like, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
After some more cutaways, we get to see the censored clip of Muhammad.
You mean like the time you had tea with Muhammad? Come on, Muhammad. Let's get some tea.
Try my Mr. T. Tea.
It's just great how accurate that is to a Family Guy joke. Like, is it funny? Yeah. Is it also one of the stupidest jokes ever? Also, yeah. The boys are very confused after watching the clip, and none of them understand why this is a big deal. Except, plot twist, Cartman thinks it's a very big deal.
How would you feel, Kyle, if there was a cartoon on television that made fun of Jews all the time, huh?
One of South Park's best meta jokes right here. Kyle's parents catch them watching Family Guy and they immediately start freaking out, even smashing their TV, you know, instead of just turning it off. This scene is to highlight another main point of these episodes, that being fear, which we'll talk more about later. Yeah, Kyle's mom thinks that the boys are just uneducated and says that they all need Muslim sensitivity training, which just so happens to be taught by Mrs. Garrison. Personally, I can't think of anyone better for the job.
Yes, them all to death. How about we get rid of all the Mexicans?
Well, yeah, but at least I got rid of all those damn...
Okay, maybe not.
Oh my God.
This should at least provide some great content for us. The lesson starts off with Garrison attempting to explain why Muslim people are so upset about Muhammad being shown. Garrison then explains that Muslims cannot have sex before marriage, and that normally this would be okay in religion, except that Muslims also can't...
jack off.
After that, Garrison tops it off by saying Muslim people live in sand.
Now put yourself in the shoes of a Muslim. It's Friday night, but you can't have sex and you can't jack off. There's sand in your eyes and probably in the crack of your ass, and then some cartoon comes along from a country where people are getting laid and mocks your prophet.
Cartman then calls out Garrison for being ignorant and racist. By this point, every South Park fan watching knows that Cartman is up to something. He's arguably more racist and intolerant of certain religions than Garrison is. So to see him suddenly showing this much empathy towards Muslim people, it's pretty obvious he's up to no good. We're not forgetting the time he said this.
Not all Muslim people are terrorists.
No, but most of them are.
The school randomly calls for an emergency assembly, and we're told that the Family Guy episode was only part 1, and that next week they're gonna air part 2 with Muhammad uncensored. This is Matt and Trey foreshadowing their own show. Keep in mind, Cartoon Wars was only ever supposed to be 1 episode. Matt and Trey only made it a 2-parter because Comedy Central refused to show Muhammad.
even as we made this whole first part, we still were in the argument, and that's why we decided to make it a two-parter, because we're like, well, they're still not letting us show Muhammad, so let's make it a two-parter and we'll argue about it for another week.
The news report goes on to say that the Family Guy writing staff has demanded that Muhammad be shown without censorship. We then see that more riots and violence are breaking out, and we get another Al-Zawahiri clip of him trashing Family Guy. Using a literal terrorist to tell your own thoughts about Family Guy is something only South Park could pull off. After the assembly, Cartman is trying to rally up the boys to help him get the episode of Family Guy pulled. At first, Kyle is against this. He says that the writers shouldn't be intimidated by fear. Cartman, being an expert-level manipulator, starts talking about all the people who could get hurt if this episode goes on air.
If 10 people die because Family Guy just had to have their little joke, will you still think it's funny?
This conversation appears to make Kyle second-guess his opinion. Later that night, he even has a horrifying dream about his little brother Ike becoming a victim of terrorism. As Cartman is preparing to leave to Los Angeles to stop the episode, Kyle rolls up to tell him that he thinks he's right, and he wants to help Eric get the episode pulled.
People can really get hurt, and a joke just isn't worth that.
Kyle genuinely believes here that Eric is being sincere. Also, can we just talk about them planning to ride their big wheels all the way there? I love when they have these deep conversations and then South Park reminds us that they're literally fourth graders.
All right, let's go.
Kyle mentions that they have 6 days to get the episode pulled. If they keep their stops to a minimum, they should make it in time. Cartman slips up during the conversation and mentions that just a few weeks from now, Family Guy will be off the air forever. Eric goes on to explain that if you get one episode pulled, it will start a chain reaction, and anyone offended will be able to stop an episode until the show eventually dies. Kyle says that he still likes Family Guy and just wants this one episode pulled.
You should like that show. Your sense of humor is just like Family Guy. Don't you ever compare me to Family Guy.
At this point, Kyle realizes the truth. Everything Eric has said about Muslims or free speech has been a complete manipulation tactic to get Family Guy off the air forever. Eric goes on a rant about how he's tired of being compared to Family Guy. This is Nat and Trey speaking through Cartman, if you couldn't tell. Eric continues his rant about how his jokes are better. They're inherent to a story, deep, emotional jokes based on what's relevant and actually has a point. You might be thinking by now that South Park has some sort of childish jealousy towards Family Guy, and you would be absolutely right in thinking that. They even admit it themselves.
It's like the Justin Timberlake thing. It's like when you're a musician and you're doing your stuff and you're working hard and you're trying to do art, and then Justin Timberlake comes along and just rakes in all the cash and everyone thinks he's awesome. You're like, dude, come on, that's not that good. But that's how sort of everyone in this town feels about Family Guy. And again, it is like this childish jealousy too, because it's like, come on, our stuff's cooler.
Yeah,
but
it totally is childish because Family Guy gets like 4 times the ratings of us.
Kyle comes to the realization that Eric used fear to make him stop believing in free speech. So now Kyle's new goal is to make sure Eric doesn't get to Los Angeles.
Well then, Kyle, I guess oh my God, is that Tim McGraw? What?
Meanwhile, the town of South Park is trying to decide what they're going to do about the upcoming Family Guy episode. The mayor brings in a university professor to come up with a solution for how the town can stay safe. I always thought it was hilarious how fearful the town is, like some random small town in Colorado is going to be the target of terrorism. It's obviously South Park trying to satirize the global fear. I don't know, that's just always been funny to me. The professor says that the only way to stay safe from extremists is to let them know that the town has no part in what Family Guy is doing. How do they accomplish this, you might ask? Well, by putting their heads in the sand. Except, literally, taking tons of sand and burying their heads in it. This ridiculous idea causes Steven Stotch to give us a pretty out-of-character outburst. Steven tells the town that they need to do the opposite of this, and instead fight for free speech.
And if we aren't willing to risk what we have, then we just believe in free speech, but we don't defend it.
I like the sand idea. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the sand thing sounds a lot simpler.
This is probably the only time Steven has ever sounded competent, like this is finally his big moment to be a respected character. Then it gets immediately shut down. Underrated moment of this episode for sure. The next scene shows us an epic high-speed chase of Kyle trying to stop Cartman, where they just casually get a couple police officers to crash their car. Cartman then uses some cheesy poof tech to get Kyle off course and crash his big wheel.
What the hell? It explodes.
It cuts to the town preparing for their defense against terrorism. Stan, of course, is the only one who realizes how stupid this is, but he's forced to go through with it anyways. Jimbo realizes that the last person isn't going to have anybody else who's able to bury their head for them, meaning they will appear to be part of the Family Guy audience. Suddenly, a random guy volunteers in a pretty dramatic way to be the hero.
Who are those people?
The concluding scene shows George Bush meeting with the network president of Fox. Bush is trying to negotiate about the Family Guy episode being aired, and the Fox network president tells him that his hands are tied, and we're left with a very intense cliffhanger.
There's something about the Family Guy writing staff I think you should know.
They follow it up with a little preview of the next episode. It's hard to describe how hyped this episode was at the time. In 2006, social media was still fairly new, but if this episode aired today, it would break the internet. I still remember having debates at school with people about South Park versus Family Guy. I mean, imagine your favorite content creators beefing. Now, times that by about 1,000. That should give you a decent understanding about how people felt about these episodes. So before we get into the next episode, let's talk more in depth about the reactions to part 1. First off, Family Guy didn't have much of an immediate reaction. What I can tell you is reactions from other adult cartoons.
But after the first part aired, we got calls from people at The Simpsons saying thank you, because they actually hate Family Guy more than we do, even though they won't say it. And then we got calls from people that work on King of the Hill. They said, quote, "You're doing God's work by ripping on Family Guy."
Before Cartoon Wars, The Simpsons had their own beef with Family Guy, joking about them copying their format. When you look at it objectively, the shows are similar. Both are about working class, dysfunctional families with a drunken, dim-witted father and 3 kids. After this particular joke about plagiarism, Seth MacFarlane responded with a crazy cutaway of Quagmire basically wiping out the entire Simpson family.
Get off my wife!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You shot my homie!
A lot of people thought this joke was really unhinged and even tasteless, but Matt Groening found it funny and didn't really care at all. They would eventually get over this beef, and they even did a planned crossover episode years later.
Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin are a great team.
So I told you at the start of the video about the Family Guy deleted scene where they were going to make a gay joke about Matt and Trey, but what else has Family Guy done when referencing South Park? Well, they've actually referenced South Park 4 times, but none of those references were really negative towards the show.
And a pretty good ribbon by those South Park guys.
Seth has given interviews where he does seem a little salty about it at times, but it's really not that deep in my opinion.
You know, because the 2-parter that they did about us was very funny, and they but then I read this article where they were just really like spitting venom at us and at our staff, and I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. It's like, you know, go after me all you want, but, you know, don't go picking on writers you don't even know who are making much less money than you.
He also said this when he met Trey for the first time, which I just thought this was really funny.
I don't know them. I've met Trey maybe once or twice for all of 5 minutes. No, it's a very cordial, you know, like when Churchill and Hitler would, you know, be in the same room together.
I haven't really given any of my personal opinions on Family Guy yet, which isn't very fair. So, drum roll please. I think Family Guy is funny. I think it's good at what it does, which is entertain. It reminds me of short-form content today. Sometimes I like to be a degenerate and brainlessly scroll through Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. Despite this, I'm always gonna think that a long-form video is better and a more respectable form of media. Family Guy is meant for quick, dumb laughs, not for clever, thought-provoking satire. Does it make me sad that there are people who actually think Family Guy is a better show than South Park? Absolutely, because it's not. And nobody will ever change my mind about that. That doesn't mean I hate the show or I think it has no place in media. I've been reading a lot of comments about South Park versus Family Guy while trying to make this video, and this comment stood out a lot to me. Family Guy, you remember jokes. South Park, you remember episodes. I remember the time Peter fell and did this for 30 seconds straight. I also remember laughing at the Cool Whip sequence, or Cool Whip sequence, for such a long time, even joking about it with my friends. Guess what? I have no idea which episodes those jokes even came from. Good point. Not like I didn't watch a good amount of Family Guy either. I watched it a lot, probably in my top 5 background shows. To me, South Park is just more memorable, better at storytelling, and overall more thought-provoking. With that being said, I think we're ready to move on to part 2. If you've been enjoying the content so far, I'd appreciate it if you check to see if you're subscribed. Either way, here is Cartoon Wars Part 2.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of Cartoon Wars will not be seen tonight, so that we can bring you this Terrence and Phillip television special.
Okay, so I think when this episode first came out, a lot of people didn't get this reference. Back in the season 1 finale of South Park, they hit fans with a cliffhanger. Who was Eric Cartman's father? They made fans wait weeks, and instead of answering that question, they trolled their entire fan base with a Terrence and Phillip episode. Matt and Trey thought this was hilarious, but it actually pissed off a lot of people. They thought it would be funny to make people think they were getting trolled again. A double troll, if you will. This opening scene, however, actually ties into Cartoon Wars in a pretty interesting way. Terrence and Phillip wanted to show Muhammad on their show before Family Guy, but they, of course, end up getting censored by CBC. They argue with the network president, but he believes there's no way that Family Guy will actually go through with it, and guarantees someone is on their way to stop Fox Network right now. We, of course, know who that someone is. Cartman rides straight into the Fox building and demands he needs to speak to the president of Fox Network right away. He tells the lady at the front desk all of his concerns about Family Guy showing Muhammad, and she tells him to wait in line. We meet another kid who wants Family Guy off the air, Bart Simpson. So Matt and Trey never actually planned to put Bart in this episode, but after getting calls and even flowers from the Simpsons team, they thought it'd be hilarious to imply that they hated Family Guy too. And honestly, at the time, they kind of did. Cartman starts talking with Bart, trying to figure out what his plan is to get Family Guy off the air. Bart doesn't really have a well thought out plan, so Eric tells him his plan, that he's gonna use the whole Muhammad situation to scare the network into pulling the episode.
I'm going to use fear to get them to do what I want.
Isn't that like terrorism?
No, it isn't like terrorism. It is terrorism.
Bart thinks that he can pull off that plan, but Cartman is skeptical. He asks Bart to tell him the worst thing that he's ever done, and Bart replies by saying he stole the head off of a statue once. This is a reference to the episode The Telltale Head. It's one of the first really iconic Bart episodes, definitely a banger. After hearing this, Cartman sarcastically tells Bart that he's pretty hardcore. Then Cartman tells him the worst thing he's ever done. I think most South Park fans knew exactly what this was.
That's like this one time when I didn't like a kid, so I ground his parents up into chili and fed it to him.
Upon hearing this, Bart decides to let Cartman do the job. We finally get to see what Kyle's up to after losing his big wheel. He discovers a bunch of people with their heads buried in sand. I love how they make them look as stupid as possible with their hands sticking up like that. He wanders into the truck stop and finds a TV with a news report on. Apparently, the sand idea that was started in South Park has now spread to the rest of America, because of course it has. In this news report, we also get a statement from Osama bin Laden himself.
محمد عطا رحمه الله أن ينجز جميع العمليات خلال 20 دقيقة قبل أن ينتبه بوش وإدارته.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something he would say. Kyle runs into a guy who doesn't have his head buried in the sand, and this seems like another zombie apocalypse trope. He ends up being a fan of Family Guy, so he gives Kyle a ride to the network.
I know it's just joke after joke, but I like that. At least it doesn't get all preachy and up its own ass with messages, you know?
Another meta joke that shows us South Park is fully aware of the criticism they get. Meanwhile, George Bush is holding a press conference to announce that Fox is going through with their plan to show Muhammad. He also tells us that he learned something about the Family Guy writing staff, but it's classified, of course. He also adds that ultimately, they're protected by the First Amendment.
And what exactly is this First Amendment, Mr. President?
This scene is just peak satire. None of the journalists have ever heard of the First Amendment. They even asked George Bush why he came up with it. This must have been what Matt and Trey felt like, being told that they can't show Muhammad. We then see that Eric was able to get a meeting with the Fox executives. He tells a story under the persona of a Danish boy named Danny Pocket. I have no idea where that name came from, by the way. I tried to find out though if it was a reference or something. Maybe one of you know. Cartman's story is that his father worked for one of the newspapers in Denmark, and after showing an image of Muhammad, his building was bombed. Not only does he give them a sob story, he also uses his expert manipulation to tell the executives if people get hurt, it'll be their responsibility. The executives are actually fine with not showing Muhammad, but they tell us that if they use censorship, the Family Guy writing staff will refuse to work. They ask Little Danny Pocket if he would be willing to talk to the writing staff and tell them his story to see if he can change their minds.
Yes, and then Family Guy's as good as dead.
What was that?
I said thank you. Thank you for listening.
The next scene shows us Kyle wandering around Fox Studio looking for the main network office. He runs into Bart, who is spamming "I hate Family Guy" on the wall in chalk. He asks Bart for directions, but reveals too much about his intentions, not realizing that Bart hates Family Guy. He points him to a random janitor building, which Kyle naively believes. Let's be honest, this is a minor plot hole. Kyle isn't that stupid.
This can't be right. Cowabunga, mother.
Meanwhile, Eric is being escorted to have a meeting with the Family Guy writing staff. This gives us one of the biggest reveals of all time. The Family Guy writing staff is composed of manatees. My favorite part of this reveal is that Cartman is not even surprised. He's just like, yeah, that makes sense. The staff member explains how the manatees write Family Guy. They use idea balls that each have a verb, noun, or pop culture reference. They take these balls to the other side, and when you put 5 of them together, they always make a perfect Family Guy joke.
Remember the time I won a date to Mexico with Gary Coleman?
¿Qué pasa, señores? What you talking about, Willis?
This is such a creative jab. I mean, they've already told us through Cartman and, well, even terrorists, how they think Family Guy jokes are all interchangeable and irrelevant to the plot, but making the Family Guy writing staff literal manatees, just comedic genius here. Cartman then asks a pretty valid question. How did the manatees demand that Muhammad be shown? We're then told that when they tried to pull the Muhammad ball out of the tank, the manatees stopped working. Eric attempts to give his sob story to the manatees when he's interrupted by the staff member.
Don't you know anything about manatees? They're the only mammals that are completely unmoved by terrorist threats.
Back in the janitor's room, Bart has Kyle completely tied up. Cartman comes in to rub it in his face. Bart asks Eric if he was able to get the episode pulled yet. Eric replies that he hasn't, but he now knows a way to get the Family Guy writing staff to stop working.
That's good anger you're showing there. You see that? That's emotional character development based on what's happening in the storyline. Not at all like Family Guy.
This episode always reminds me of how underrated a character Kyle actually is. He's easily the least liked of the 4 boys. I mean, he rarely ever makes it into the top 10 in fan polls, but without Kyle, half of the plots in the show would be lacking. Cartman's best episodes often work so well because Kyle is the perfect contrast to him. The Tourette's episode, the AIDS episode, the entire Imagination Land trilogy. The more I actually break down South Park episodes, the more I like his character. Anyways, off-screen, Cartman sneaks back into the writer's room to remove a ball from the manatee tank. He uses some more manipulation to convince the network president that the manatees have stopped working because Fox gave in to them last week. Now, all they have to do is stop working to get whatever they want. The network president thinks that the manatees are just abusing the situation and showing him up, so he decides to have the Muhammad episode pulled, meaning that Cartman has succeeded.
I am God!
While celebrating his victory, he's interrupted by Kyle. Kyle used one of his iconically gay speeches to convince Bart to switch sides. Kyle tells Cartman that he's gonna make the network president realize that he's been manipulated, and then we get the most epic fight scene in all of South Park.
Let this be our final battle.
But first, a reference some people might have missed.
Yes! Let this be our final battle!
Okay, it's actually the most pathetic fight to ever happen, but it's pretty hilarious. During the fight, they end up in the King of the Hill studio. Matt and Trey did this to sort of shout them out for their reaction to part 1. Like I mentioned earlier, they were one of the shows that thanked Matt and Trey after part 1 aired. I just think little animation shoutouts like this are really cool. This whole fight sequence actually reminds me of Family Guy a lot. Whenever Peter fights the chicken, I'm not sure if they did that on purpose, but I wouldn't be surprised. Also, can we just acknowledge that Cartman is fighting a lot better than he usually does?
Come on! Come on!
The fight comes to an abrupt ending when Bart knocks out Cartman with his skateboard. It cuts to the network president who's about to give his orders to pull the Family Guy episode, when suddenly Kyle barges in the room in an attempt to save Family Guy. He tells the network president that pulling this episode could be the end of the show forever. Cartman interrupts this conversation by sucker punching Kyle, and the network president is torn about what he should do. Kyle represents free speech, and Eric represents fear and censorship. But Cartman makes it easy and pulls a gun on him. He resorts to violence to get his way. Or, in other words, terrorism. This doesn't stop Kyle from trying though. He acknowledges that people can always get hurt. That's how terrorism is. But if you give in to those threats, then you're allowing terrorism to work.
If you don't show Muhammad, then you've made a distinction between what is okay to poke fun at and what isn't. Either it's all okay, or none of it is.
This is one of the most powerful scenes in any animated media I've ever seen. And it's pretty ironic that an episode with this message is currently banned from streaming services. Matt and Trey have always fought for what Kyle is saying in his speech here. Either it's all okay, or none of it is. Thanks to Kyle's words, the network president is finally able to make his decision.
Family Guy goes on air as planned. Uncensored.
It cuts to the Family Guy episode, and just as Muhammad is about to be shown, we see this. Comedy Central has refused to broadcast an image of Muhammad on their network. A lot of people were confused by this and thought it was some type of bit. No, Matt and Trey put Muhammad in this scene. There's no gimmick here. Comedy Central just refused to put him on their network. I'd also like to remind people that they weren't being threatened by violence. A lot of people confused these episodes with 200 and 201. In the airing of those episodes years later, Comedy Central, Matt and Trey were all threatened by extremist groups. That wasn't for Cartoon Wars. I just want people to be aware of the difference here. Was Comedy Central scared of potential violence? Most likely. But Matt and Trey were willing to fight for free speech, and this episode shows us that. Alright, let's finish this banger of an episode. It cuts to George Bush, who just finished watching the Family Guy episode, and he acknowledges that it wasn't even that bad. Suddenly, they get a call that says the terrorists are retaliating. What is their retaliation? Well, making fun of Americans, George Bush, and Jesus Christ.
Would you like me to crap on you, Mr. Bush?
I actually like how they use Jesus in this, showing the hypocritical double standard that exists. They even comment on this part.
And this is where we kind of agree with like the super Christian. It really is open season on Jesus. Like you can do whatever you want with Jesus. But
because you're scared of them blowing you up, you can't make fun of the Muslims.
Yeah, you can't make fun of Muhammad.
After their retaliation of showing America defecating all over each other, we get the perfect ending scene. These episodes are just peak South Park. The perfect mixture of satire, social commentary, along with calling out a fellow animated TV juggernaut. They're highly rated on IMDb, so it seems most fans feel similar. It's really just a tragedy that you can't legally stream these episodes anymore. Notice how I said legally. You can definitely find them on the internet if you're motivated. Feel free to leave your guys' thoughts about these episodes.
They're on YouTube,
as always, thank you for watching.
But
I have somehow gained access to the single largest sealed video game warehouse in the country. The inventory on these shelves is worth millions of dollars, and the company that owns them is called Dusty Games. The owner, Bobby, has agreed to give me an inside look at how this business works, and let me ask him my spiciest questions. What can you tell me about the kinds of numbers that a business like this is looking to do?
This industry is very hard. It's very cutthroat. The margins are terrible.
So when people come to you and say like, hey, I'm thinking about investing in some sealed games,
that's what I'm saying.
what do
He
you
was
say?
calling it lunch money before. It really is.
So Dusty, I'm totally in awe
really
of the selection that you have here. Can you start off by walking me through and giving me a few games that you think are the coolest on these shelves?
I would go with the Fatal Frames. We got Fatal Frame 1, 2, 3.
That is wild. Any other games from other consoles that you would say? Wow, that is wild. And what, did it just come from a stack of them over there?
There's actually was a sealed case which was never supposed to be opened because I actually was keeping this for like as a investment per se, but it got opened and here we have.
Dang. I guess I'll start with the question that I know everybody watching is wondering, which is where does this stuff come from?
Well, we work with publishers. So we work directly with the factories, the companies that make the games, and we purchase their either overstock, we get their closeouts, rebuilds, combination of like, hey, whatever they have in stock.
And this older stuff, I mean, some of these games are, 30, maybe even 40 years old. Does that mean that they were bought by you guys 30 or 40 years ago, or do you have other ways too?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Typically, all our inventory is bought through either directly from the publishers, distributors, or like end-of-life companies. So if there's a company that went out of business, we might have acquired through them too. At one point, this might have came from Toys R Us, GameStop potentially, any other retailers back in the days.
The other infinite question that you have with a business model like this is, how do you know how long to hold this stuff? Because a lot of this, I mean, it's gone up in value so much since you maybe acquired it a long time ago, so.
It's subjective.
Okay.
Sometimes we're not intentionally holding the product. Demand in the marketplace is not justified, and the price we acquired it for is lower than the market price. So we might hold it till the market kind of comes to us, or we go to the market price.
For example, like Elmo's 1-2-3s here. Do you mind if I touch? Is that okay if I touch this?
You're more than welcome to.
So if you bought this for like maybe $20 a piece, you may have to wait until the market rises enough.
Correct.
To make your margins on those games.
Correct. Or it could be the fact that there was just not enough demand for the product. I mean, I don't know how many people are buying Elmo's 1-2-3 sealed. They might be acquiring that used, but is there a demand for sealed copies?
Is there a like percentage margin that you'll hold out for, or does it depend on the game?
It depends on the game, but it depends on the market, right? So every time there's a lot of scenarios that apply. It's not a one-dimensional, hey, I have to make 10% or 5% to justify selling the product. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 50. But it depends on the marketplace and what's happening. With WADA and other great companies grading games, the demand has outweighed supply now. So there's so many factors that come into play. It's not just one-dimensional with one factor determining how we price things and how we offer products to the marketplace.
Is there another cool game or two that you could show me in this aisle?
I could.
Oh wow, so what do those run these days?
I don't even know. I don't think we even offer it to our clients, but Grand Theft Auto 2 is something that's iconic and classic, right?
Yeah, wow, and you've got a ton of them down there as well.
There's about a 10 or so, but it's not a lot of pieces that we have. At times, we might not offer these games to our customers any longer, and might hold them as an investment or hedge or whatever the future might hold.
So tell me, how long has this business been
right now,
in operation? I mean, like, have you been stocking some of these games for decades, or are they more recent?
The company's been around since '92. I joined the company in 2001, so the company's been around since '92. We had retail stores at one point, but I would say bulk of our inventory is within the last few years. These are more oddities than the.
But they boomed.
What would you say is your fastest seller in terms of across an entire console?
I would say Switch is probably the most popular item, but most of the things that we sell are typically budget price type items.
Okay.
So right now, our biggest formats that are selling are Xbox 360 and PS2. They're low price, they're easily acquired, people play them, and they're affordable. Most our PS2 games are probably under $20, and Xbox 360 is so popular right now with end of life of the system.
I want to ask you more about just the business model and especially how you're moving this kind of product, but why don't we get a little bit more comfortable in one of these rows here. So Bobby, on this channel, we're very money positive. So in that spirit, what can you tell me about the kinds of numbers that a business like this is looking to do?
Annual sales surpass about $5 million a year.
Dang.
Yeah, so we do a healthy number of units.
No kidding.
Yes. We supply almost 1,000 game stores as well.
Okay, wow.
Yes. And we also
get a copy of
supply
GTA
Whatnot
3.
sellers, Amazon,
That's
eBay,
what I'm in right now. I'm in the process of
other
trying to get
like
PS2
online
games.
sellers as well. And
Just
also
for nostalgia
domestically and
reasons.
internationally as well.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much of what you do is like B2B
GTA
versus
3.
B2C?
I would say we're
Vice City.
about 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of these are going to end up getting into the hands of like the final end buyer.
Yes, 100%. Honestly, our end goal of what we do is try to make games affordable so people can play them. Our goal is not to hoard them.
Right.
I think there was a misconception that I'm a hoarder, I'm a whatever. And honestly, our goal is to make sure games are
up on
affordable
price,
and
then you
people can
take
play
them off the market like
a
you
lot
just
of times,
said
if
about
we're
the
out of the
GTA
item in the marketplace, the prices jump very quickly.
Like a hedge fund.
Interesting.
Like I'll give you a great example, like Fatal Frame. As soon as we're out of I believe in my mind, if we're out of Fatal Frame 1, 2, 3, the price should be about $200-300. As soon as we're out of those.
Because you're sort of anchoring the market
Correct.
at a certain price point.
Correct. And that's with a lot of the items that we carry. Soon as I've seen it many times, where as soon as we're out of the item in the on the market, prices skyrocket. And it's happened so many times where I've kind of realized that we do influence the market very beneficially for the gamer.
Yeah. So from a business sense, I feel like I would definitely be tempted to gradually like keep raising those prices. Is there any element of that that you guys do just to try to optimize sustainability?
100%, we do that.
Yeah.
We do take that opportunity when the
burnt through
market
most of my
changes
bonus
and
XP
adjusts.
too.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
Positively and negatively. So we
Yeah, all of
adjust
it.
accordingly to the market. A YouTuber or a channel talking about a title will make something go crazy.
Okay, and increase the demand, and you just try to keep up.
Yeah, there are times where change of demand. Also, it goes both ways where something like a new title comes out in the franchise.
Do you have much competition, like at this scale?
I think there are probably 1 or 2 companies that are similar, but I don't think they're necessarily competition because they might focus on current gen. Most companies do not carry previous gen or retro games in that context.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How much of your sales is like modern versus retro?
I think we're probably, depending on the time of the year, we probably, I think overall we're probably 50-50, but depending on time of the year and seasonalities of something or spikes, we sometimes are 75 retro and 25 current gen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons? Obviously, it seems like your inventory is overwhelmingly sealed.
Yes.
Why do you like sealed?
Well, our inventory is probably 90 to 95% sealed. I mean, it's easy to acquire. I mean, for us, it's easy to acquire. We can scale our operation. If you're trying to use games, scaling is a challenge. How do you acquire so much used product organically? I know you've delved in that
You gotta
by
go searching.
creating an app.
Yeah, as a
We're trying
business.
to.
It's all
Yeah,
on the
it's a
internet,
challenge.
It's tricky though.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like
Definitely a
a
challenge,
store like
depending on what
GameStop,
you're
you
looking
have
for, too.
multiple outlets and people coming to you providing you product. We're primarily based online. So we have no physical stores in that regard.
look
So
all online and
getting
everything.
used product is almost it's an obstacle.
Right.
And I think companies like DK Oldies and other online retailers have tried, but it's not easy to acquire clean products specifically. Like getting product that's easily you can convert to sellable condition is a bigger challenge.
Yeah.
And with sealed games, it's sealed. You don't have to do much of anything other than just shipping the product out.
Yeah, there's not like prep or testing
agree.
or
Yes.
really cleaning or things
Correct.
like that.
And you know what the quality of the product is. Versus there's so many unknown factors with used products.
When people come to you and say, hey, I'm interested in getting into sealed games, and flipping, building a
Like what
business
happened
on
with
them,
TCG,
is that something that you
eventually it
recommend to
starts
people, or
evolving
is it
into buying
tougher on a
sealed
small
product.
scale?
I think it's
Trading
all
cards,
subjective.
too.
Whatnot kind of opened up the options for independent
Just it
people
appreciates
to
better. I don't know.
buy and sell games, and it's much more fluid and it's quick. You can literally be selling all of my items on Whatnot tomorrow. It doesn't require any special skills other than having ease of using the camera and just talking in front of an audience. If you're comfortable, you can do it. The pros and cons of selling online it's a challenge in itself. Pretty much any industry that's kind of commodity based, which I think video games are commodity based, it's challenged because there's so many different people selling, and depending on how you utilize what your resources are, the margins are not great. We're in a very razor thin margin industry.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially with the sealed product. 'Cause
Correct.
used, it can creep up there a little bit more, but
True, but I think the scale makes it hard too. With new product, you can scale up quickly, easily. I mean, I've worked with sellers on Whatnot who've scaled very easily with using my products.
yeah.
So that's the luxury you have. You're not spending so much time of sourcing, doing all the other legwork regarding with used product.
So I would imagine you're probably selling, when you're selling in bulk, you're basically supplying someone. I would imagine there's some sort of a bulk discount involved, so it's feasible for them as well.
Correct. We typically, the margins, I mean, the realistic margins on new products is between 5 and 10% typically. That can scale up to 34% depending on what you're doing. It depends on the product, right? It's a general estimate.
So if I came to you and I was like, I want 100 platinum hits, Burnout Paradises.
Yeah.
You would look to sell those to me at a percent where you could make 5 to 10% on whatever you have into them.
Different way.
Okay.
I was communicating more of the 5 to 10% what the end user is the resale customer is going to realistically make if you wanted to resell it.
Fantastic Four game.
Our
I'll
margins
look that up.
vary. We
Depending
typically
on what you got it for.
Correct, and depending on the time of the year. Sometimes things evolve where we're making negative percentages.
Oh yeah.
Because we are losing money. because we can't anticipate the market going, what will happen tomorrow in our marketplaces.
When you look at these stacks and stacks of inventory, do you see them more as like regular business inventory or as an investment?
I wouldn't consider them assets. I think they would consider liabilities technically, but I think it goes both ways. I don't really consider video games assets typically, in a typical sense. There are one-offs where there could be considered assets, but
in the sense that they're consistently appreciating?
Correct. But I think video games are not a category I would typically go say, hey, this is an asset-based industry, like gold. I wouldn't consider gold.
DK Oldies has
retro inventory does
Fantastic Four game for like $7,
but I wouldn't
there's
consider
people
it
on
as an
eBay
investment.
selling it for 100,
Interesting.
1,000. Like,
so when people come to you and say like, hey, I'm thinking about investing in some sealed games, what do you say?
I'm just curious to see this listing at $1,000.
Go for it. But honestly, I would not advise it because honestly, like games are games, right? I mean, they have some resaleability,
it's terrible
but there's
condition.
no
This has gotta be-
there's uncertainty what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, what sealed games was during pandemic and what is now is, I think, it's about 50% less, or maybe even more. So I mean, it can be an investment, but I wouldn't advise as like if I was in my situation, telling somebody else, I would advise against it.
It's not reliable.
No, but I think any collectible industry is very, very uncertain.
Yeah.
I mean, they have better returns in the stock market right now, but and as a typical investor, I would advise against it.
What role does grading play in this business?
Minimal. At least with our company, minimal. We have customers that do buy sealed cases and they grade, but it's not something we generally partake in.
Gotcha. What's the reason for that?
It's too speculative. And honestly, I don't see the point of investing and holding, especially the time it takes to do it and resources it required. We don't have the resources to do it.
It would be a sort of a different
it's a
business
gamble
model
half
from
the
what
time.
you
I
have.
mean, you can
Correct.
take your
It's
best
something would be
bets,
outside the
but
norm of what we do.
grading's a gamble.
And we're a reseller of video games.
Spending more money
but
on something
like
you've already
We're not
bought
a commodities dealer
in
or like
hopes
a holder
you'll
of games
appreciate
to
more.
for extended period of time just to determine what the market's going to happen. What's going to happen in the marketplace. It's too hard to define what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah.
Do you often get accused of like trying to manipulate the market or set market prices with the quantities you guys have?
I think people think we're hoarders. It's more of a concern, like how do we sell the product is a concern. And that's why we made the website that people can buy directly on our website now. So that concern of like, hey, where is this person selling, what he's doing, it's available on our website now so for people can buy anytime.
Yeah. And what's the website again?
DustyGame.com.
DustyGame.com.
Yeah.
Is that specifically B2B or do you also sell singles?
This is all to business. This is strictly to consumers.
Okay, there's an
okay.
Yeah, this is a consumer website. We do have a business-to-business
87,
website, but
88.
this is only towards consumers so they can play the games if they want to or do whatever they want with it.
And is this the first time you've gotten into like direct to consumer without like
Yes.
eBay or
This is the first time we've actually delved in the aspect of direct to consumer. We tried in the past, many years ago, dismal failures because we didn't spend money on marketing and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But I think based on what I'm seeing with the market right now, I think it's the right time for it because I see what happens on eBay, Amazon, Walmart, and all these other websites. They're so confusing and so convoluted where you don't even know what you're buying.
What challenges are going to come with going like platformless or creating your own platform?
Just marketing the website. I think that's the biggest challenge, and also just there's a learning curve, right? We've never really ventured into that market, so we're still going to be learning of the ins and outs of it and curating a collection and getting pictures and doing all that stuff that we never really dealt with. That's something that's out of our specialty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Video games in general is an industry that's super easy to glamorize, to romanticize. What can you tell me about like the day-to-day reality of running this business?
I don't play video games. I think everyone thinks we play video games all the time, but that's probably the last thing I do.
Yeah.
I'm typically spending most of my hours or time or resources on the computer. I'm a data guy. We kind of visualize trends, changes in the marketplace, and in that regard, that's what I basically spend most of my time. I don't play video games, and I'm in the warehouse at times, but it's very, very rarely I'm out here pulling an order or doing that in that regard.
Yeah. I guess unless you count spreadsheets of video game.
Yeah. Spreadsheets of video games is pretty much my day.
Do you consider your job fun?
Yes, I do. I'm passionate about video games, so that's why I enjoy it. There are days where it's nightmarish because there's so much information you're gathering and dissecting, and that gets challenging at times because you're just there's an analyzation and prediction
have
of what
that.
the future will hold with the marketplace.
Deal.
And
Wow.
trying to determine what will happen. It will go up or down or sideways or left and right. There's so many different factors that come into play that it's hard to predict and kind of make a sound financial decisions in best interest of the company.
Do you have in your history, I guess the last 20 or so years of this company, do you have a favorite failure?
I can't think of on top of my head. I think I have to come back to that.
Well, that's probably a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some issues. We've made some poor decisions.
Yeah.
I can't, no means it may say that's never happened. Of course, we've always made poor decisions.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, if I'm shooting 75 or 80%, I'm doing great.
Right. So let me ask this then. Can you remember like the darkest period in the history of your business and talk about how you overcame that?
I think those more personal issues in my life. I mean, at the end of the day, we're human. We've had personal things that happen outside of work. I think those are the harder challenges to overcome than the work ones. Because at work, hey, whatever issues occur, you can kind of get over those. But personal issues, they affect you mentally, and those are sometimes more draining than anything else. And the stress of that, I think it's more detrimental to my mental health at times than anything else.
As the owner of a business that specializes in physical media, are you concerned about the decline of physical media?
I am. That is a natural concern of the industry, but honestly, we work with publishers to try to make sure games are brought physically. So we've done deals where a physical game was never released. We'll bring a physical version of it. So we've done that in the past. So that's the goal, to do that in the future as well.
Yeah.
So to prolong the industry. Companies like GameStop are important to the industry. If GameStop goes away tomorrow, our chances of having physical components of video games
There might
is
even be
lower.
a generation down the road.
Yeah,
That's
so
like,
because there's not
I
a
want physical, like,
reason
bring
for
it back like a
physical games to be
nostalgia.
made at that point.
Yeah.
So I think in a lot of people wish the demise of GameStop. That poor ill feelings for GameStop. I understand those concerns, but as a whole industry as a whole, they are an important part of it.
You've at this point been in the business long enough to see a lot of video game businesses come and go.
Yes.
What are some common trends that you think lead to their downfall, and how is this business different than a lot of the ones that you see that fail?
I think the biggest issue that people don't realize is having enough financial resources. A lot of these businesses that fail, they don't have enough financial resources. They're focused on collecting versus selling.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
in this business, you gotta sell, and you gotta
people
rotate
just wanna
that
hoard and see if it
the
appreciates.
revenue quickly.
That's a gamble
Cash
on
flow
its
is
own
very
too.
important. So if you're buying product and you're not selling it quick enough, that's gonna be a problem. And there's a margin aspect. There's a lot of areas that people forget about, because at the end of the day, it's still a business. And I think sometimes people who are game owners, they don't realize that fact that being a business owner is important. Looking at your costs, making sure you're rotating your inventory quick enough.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you look back on the last 20 or so years, do you have, like, business-wise, any regrets?
There was a time where I was offered 10,000 plus copies of Pokemon 1 and 2, or the Pokemon White 1 and 2, or I don't recall.
Yeah.
And I lost the deal for like 50 cents.
Like per copy, you mean?
Yes. And honestly, that deal would have made me really, really wealthy if I did that deal.
Yeah,
I bet that
dude,
one haunts
holy
ya.
shit.
It does, but
A
honestly,
quarter
in
a
this business,
copy?
you have to look forward, not back. Because if you keep worrying about every spill, what's the euphemism?
Keep crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, you're never gonna move forward.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you might, hindsight 2020, right?
In my business, I've been learning a whole lot about the power of focus, right? And like having to say no to bigger and bigger opportunities. I was curious, do you have any like big opportunities that you've had to say no to?
I typically don't say no to big opportunities. It's all a calculated risk, right? Everything we do, we have to look at the ROI and look if does it make financial sense. And that's how we determine what deals we will do versus what we do. So we're pretty good in that regard. But I think the question I will ask you, expound on what you mean by big deals. It's all subjective, right?
Yeah.
So are you refusing an opportunity to work with a publisher, or in what regard?
Or maybe like someone comes along and says, 10 years ago, hey, I want to build you a website.
Yeah.
Or like, do you want to partner in like my action figure?
I mean, the thing is, those type of deals are kind of outside our realm of knowledge. So things that are outside our realm of knowledge, I will not pursue.
You get all the
because for me, it's not fiscally responsible to do. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. It's not simple black and white. If it's something related and core part of our business model, we'll entertain it. But a lot of times, I mean, there's companies out there who will pitch the idea of opening a website, but it's not simple and stupid. There's a lot nuance and a lot to it to make a website that's functional and user friendly.
When you say simple stupid, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like a lot of times, everyone pitches a great idea. Can they execute the actual the idea in a manner that can be easily managed? It takes a lot.
Yeah, I feel you.
Running a website is not simple, right? It takes a lot to it. I mean, you just launched your app. How long did that process take you?
Almost a year.
Exactly, and it took a lot more than just, it took a lot of planning beforehand, and execution took a lot longer as well.
So in recent memory, by far the biggest spike in this market was 2020, especially with sealed products.
100%. During COVID was crazy.
Yeah, talk to me about like, what was that like for you? And I mean, were these shelves bare? Were you just like fire selling everything, or what? How did you guys approach that?
Honestly, because pretty much everything was shut down. We had challenges with employees, trying to make things, try to ship things out. There was a lot of factors that came into play, but we sold a ton of stuff. And like, we had Just Dance games because I guess a lot of schools were saying, hey, to get your exercise, you play Just Dance.
Nice.
So we sold tons of Just Dance games.
Right.
And by coincidence, I think we were mentioning, hey, what was one of my best deals? I picked up like 5,000 to 10,000 copies of Just Dance 2018, like a few months right before COVID.
Great timing.
Yeah.
Timing was impeccable because
out.
we sold through every copy of the Just Dance games we had during that time. We did about, I think during that year alone, I think we did double our normal year of sales.
Wow.
It felt like 3 or 4 months of just Christmas, which is honestly for me, it was, it aged me a lot, to say the least. Honestly, it was a lot of sleepless nights.
Probably low on staff at that time too.
Low on staff, doing everything was challenging. Luckily, we had some automations we were able to do right prior to COVID, so we were able to get through it, but it was not something I would want to do it again, for sure.
Speaking of staffing, how big is your staff here?
It typically varies between 15 and 20 people. We try to run a very efficient operation. We have most of our team members are in aspects of coordinating sales. So there's not a big staff of group of people, but it's
PSP
manageable.
stuff.
What advice do you have for other people who are
So niche, like I
looking
still have
to
my
get
Vita,
into
but a
this
PSP?
industry?
Don't. But no, truly, this industry is very hard. It's very cutthroat. The margins are terrible, but it's one of those things where it's a passion project at times. The money does not justify the amount of stress and effort it requires. At times, you're gonna eat it really badly. You're gonna have days where you're losing your mind because it's such a challenging industry, and gaining that next level of business is so challenging. It's a daunting task. There are days where you'll throw like 50 darts in the aspect of trying to make 50 deals. You might get lucky once in a month if you're lucky. Sometimes I work with companies where I've tried for 5, 6, 10 years and then finally made a headway.
So since this industry is so cutthroat, if you like tomorrow had to leave video games and take your talents to a different industry, do you know where you might end up?
Anything except video games, honestly. Video games is too cutthroat and challenging of an industry. The audience sometimes is challenging as well, but I would probably get into something sales. Probably medical sales or something that is a lot more relaxed, because this industry is kind of stressful, to say the least.
So you mentioned at one point you guys had retail stores.
Yes.
How did you know that it was time to pivot away from that business model?
I think the challenge is the managing employees. Staffing became an issue. And this is cloud computing. This is early 2000s. So point of sale systems and software systems that could utilize to do multi-store thing was challenging.
So back in the day, you guys pivoted away from retail. At this point, you're pivoting more into the website.
Correct.
Talk to me about that transition.
Honestly, we felt the industry was lacking. GameStop's doing a poor job doing consumer sales now. I mean, half the time when you go to the website, they're out of stock.
Yeah.
To me, that's unfortunate. There's gamers out there who want their product and want to play games. They can't find it. And then eBay, Walmart, and then Amazon, their database has gotten kind of poorly managed. There's so many redundancies and images are incorrect. You don't even know what you're buying.
Definitely the case with Amazon. I'm sometimes shocked with how bad their listings are.
Well, same thing with eBay. Honestly, like half the time when you're trying to buy a brand new product is used. The way they classify things is so confusing that I think that the time was right for someone to come up and provide products of what they're buying versus, hey, I don't know what I'm buying. So I think that's a change that I wanted to bring and implement into the industry by making sure people buying sealed games can actually get sealed games in proper condition.
Well, and it's cool to go into a market kind of with a specific mission in mind, a gap that you're trying to fill.
100%. Honestly, I think I wish someone else did it, but honestly, I've taken a giant step by doing this, and I think it's going to be hopefully beneficial for gamers and myself as well. But at the end of the day, the goal is to provide a resource for gamers to enjoy games and receive games in the condition they expect.
At this point, you are easily a top 1% video game business in the world. What did you have to sacrifice to get here?
My health sometimes. It's a lot of sleepless nights. A lot of sometimes sacrificing my kids' time. Relationships were affected at times. And so unfortunately, that's the reality of the business, where to be successful in business, sometimes you make sacrifices that in long term are not the most beneficial. I have some regrets, of course. Would I do some things differently? For sure. But honestly, overall, I'm happy with where I'm at in my life. There are days where, hey, I made some probably bad decisions, but you can't go back in time, right?
Right. I look around at the operation here and I can't imagine a next step, but I'm curious to hear from you, like, what's your end game with all this?
End of the day, hopefully retire one of these days. That's the end goal, but one day, honestly, I've thought about this and ideally would like to do this, open a museum. Because honestly, I genuinely like the industry. I like video games and I've been collecting forever. So I would like to open a museum. That's a wishful idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it entails and how to go about doing that, but that's one of those things where I would want to do.
That is something I have to say I've never heard someone say before. So that's a cool vision for the life. Thanks so much for having me out.
Thank you.
And if you want to see how I run my video game wholesale business, but on the used game side, check out this video right here.
South Park has always excelled at taking topics that might seem wildly offensive at first and transforming them into clever social commentary. Over the years, this approach has sparked plenty of controversy, but also contributed to making South Park one of the most popular TV shows of all time. Today, we'll be exploring how South Park portrayed a neurological disorder. We're diving into South Park's infamous Tourette Syndrome episode. This episode was actually praised by the Tourette's Association of America and also helped educate the public about what the disorder actually involves. The direct statement from TSA was,
I just needs to check your asshole.
Hold on, not that TSA. That's better. I guess when they were founded, they were called the Tourette Syndrome Association, hence TSA, but later changed to the Tourette's Association of America. So we'll just call them TAA from now on. Anyways, their statement was, despite our pre-airing trepidations, we do concede that the episode was well researched. There was a surprising amount of accurate information conveyed. No doubt, this South Park episode did generate increased national awareness about Tourette syndrome. They did have some criticisms, though, which we'll get to during the episode analysis. Le Petit Tourette. This is a near-perfect episode in my opinion. I wouldn't go as far to call it the best episode in the series, but in my opinion, this episode perfectly encapsulates what South Park is at its core. It features Eric Cartman being his horrible and offensive self, discusses and educates us about a sensitive topic, and of course, has brilliant pop culture references.
Why don't you have a seat?
Before we get started, this video is sponsored by... yeah, right. I probably wouldn't even get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Tough times. But if you want to support, liking the video or subscribing would help out. Enough yapping, let's get started. Disclaimer, I am not a neurologist, nor do I have Tourette syndrome. This video is not meant to diagnose or give medical advice to anyone. It is purely for entertainment purposes.
Hence the armchair analysis.
The episode begins in a toy safari.
But today's been
The South
sponsored
Park
by
fan
Phoenix
Wiki
Resale
says that this
and
is supposed to
Armchair
be a
Analysis.
parody of Toys R Us,
Great
but
content.
I looked it up and it's actually a real store in California founded in 1992. Yeah, I like to give you useless facts when I do research for these episodes. You'll get
Thanks,
used
boy.
to it. Anyways, while Cartman is shopping for toys, we meet a young boy named Thomas.
Cock!
Eric is obviously a little confused by the random profanities. A worker at the store walks up to the boy's mom and she explains that her son has Tourette syndrome.
It's a neurological disorder. He can't control what he says.
While waiting in line, Cartman has had enough and confronts the kid, thinking he's the one Thomas is directing these words to. His mother again has to explain Tourette's to everyone around. When I watched this episode as a kid, I didn't really think much about this scene, but as an adult, it's hard to not feel sympathy for Thomas and his mom here. Could you imagine having to explain to people everywhere you go about Tourette's? That's actually really sad when you think about
Joe
it,
was just talking about this
especially
episode the other
considering
day.
how rare it is. Less than 1% of people have Tourette's, and only 10% of those people have coprolalia. You also have to keep in mind when this episode released. In 2007, people were a lot less understanding of what Tourette's even was. The empathy you feel is quickly drowned out by one of the funnier intro scenes in the entire show. When Cartman realizes that Thomas will never get in trouble no matter what he says, he of course has found his golden ticket.
'Cause I got a golden ticket.
I've got a golden chance to make my way.
Cartman is able to easily convince
Classic.
his mom that he now has Tourette's, and she takes him to the Colorado Neurology Center. The doctor tells us that Tourette's is a hereditary disease and doesn't usually just suddenly start. The exact cause of Tourette syndrome is still a mystery, but research has proven there are genetic factors, and it
Yeah,
seems
it's
to
just
be an
neurological.
inherited condition. However, Tourette's can
explaining the
skip
brain.
generations and present itself as OCD or ADHD in other family members. Just because you don't know a family member with it doesn't mean you can't develop it either. So what Cartman is trying to do
Like a
here
fusion
is
dance
technically
of
possible,
several different
especially for a 10-year-old.
things.
Though this is still obviously exaggerated.
Making
You
a
wouldn't
go
just be
tanks
spouting this
of
many
his
cuss
10-year-old,
words like he is
whatever you
after
wanna
a
call
single
it.
night of sleep. It would progress much more slowly over time. Eric gets what he wants out of the doctor and gets told that he will make sure everyone at school will be accepting of his disorder.
Bingo.
The hallway scene is easily one of the most iconic of this episode. It's always in those poorly edited South Park most offensive clips, compilations, but for good reason.
Oh, good morning, Principal Victoria. Shitballs!
Cartman is basically having the time of his life. This scene is Eric Cartman in a nutshell. This episode also gives us one of Craig's best one-liners.
If I could say shitballs to the principal, I'd be so happy.
Cartman gives a little speech about his tics, and Principal Victoria assures Eric that everything is okay and they think he's very brave.
He's faking.
Of course, Kyle is the one to see right through Cartman's lie. This is a prime example of why I actually really like Kyle as a character. He isn't completely entertaining on his own or as well written as, say, Butters or Randy, but he
He's the
provides
voice.
constant conflict within Cartman's life, making for some of the show's best moments. When Kyle calls him out, Cartman uses the, well, what are you gonna do, tell on me, strategy that he's definitely used before.
What are you gonna do, Kyle? Tell on me? Then you'll be a great big no-good double-faced poopy pants tattletale.
We then get shown how disruptive Cartman can be inside of a classroom when he has free reign to say whatever he wants.
Booge, balls, bloody vaginal belch.
Okay, but even though that's really disgusting, can we just appreciate the creativity here? How does one even come up with that? Kyle starts getting really annoyed and tells Eric to stop. And as we know, if you give Cartman an inch, he will take a mile.
Yep.
Garrison goes to the principal to complain about Cartman, claiming that he can't properly teach the class as Eric has become such a distraction. This is actually a real-life issue that has come up in schools. Though it's not fair to use Cartman as an example here because, well, we all know he's doing it on purpose. However, this is a controversial topic. Depending on the severity of tics, it can be extremely distracting to a classroom and even to the student who has Tourette's, as they might have difficulty concentrating in class because they're focusing on trying to control their tics. It's a case-by-case basis and not not all people with Tourette's can fall under the same category. Principal Victoria responds by saying she has brought Mr. Donaldson from the Tourette's Tolerance and Understanding Foundation. It's not a real foundation, by the way. I checked. Mr. Donaldson is a great one-off character that I wish could have been used more throughout the series. As a kid around middle school age when this episode came out, this was probably one of the most commonly quoted lines at school.
Behind us now. Piss out my ass!
Just as he's being introduced, Kyle comes into the office ready to expose Cartman for lying about his Tourette's. The moment Mr. Donaldson hears this, he immediately gets angry with Kyle, explaining that nobody would want this illness. Kyle is taken to a children's therapy center where Mr. Donaldson runs a support group. The children, including Thomas, explain the struggles of Tourette's and how difficult it is to live with. This scene was extremely well researched and is mostly praised by people with Tourette's. It's really interesting when they explain what an urge to tick actually feels like. They compare it to a cough or a sneeze. I've also heard it explained like this. If you think really hard, you can hold your breath. In the same way that if you think really hard, you can usually hold ticks back, but eventually you have to breathe. It's also been described by some people as an itch, tingling, or aching feeling that doesn't go away until you tick. Another person described it as a similar feeling to restless leg syndrome, a building pressure that doesn't go away until you act on it. I just find Tourette's really interesting. It isn't a one-size-fits-all condition. Each person with it experiences it in a unique and varied way. Kyle decides to apologize because he's really unable to explain how only Cartman was faking it. The kids with Tourette's cannot possibly fathom how any single person would fake such a disorder. Which is perfectly fair. They have suffered with it most of their lives. They can't even see the possibility of someone finding it fun. But of course, we do know someone who would find it fun. The next scene is in the running for the funniest of the episode. Cartman goes completely wild here.
Yeah! Piss out your ass right onto Kyle's mom's fat f***ing Jew face!
He can't just be happy that he got away with faking it. He has to make sure to rub it in Kyle's face as hard as possible. As Cartman is leaving, he says something to Thomas.
Isn't having Tourette's awesome?
Finally, someone else is aware that Cartman is a fraud. Let's talk about faking Tourette's for a minute. This is something that people have actually done in real life. Not usually for their own amusement like Cartman, but for monetary gain. There's been videos exposing a TikToker who was later confirmed to be faking the disorder. You don't need me to tell you how f***ed up this is, but what a lot of people don't realize is how badly this can harm people who actually struggle with Tourette's. Not only are you being scum by attempting to profit off of a condition you find quirky, but you're also bringing out the tinfoil hat wearers who think everything in life is a conspiracy. I've seen social media influencers who are genuinely diagnosed by licensed professionals, and people tell them all the time in their comment section that they're faking it. Some of these people even go as far as to deny that Tourette's is a real thing. It's actually a little concerning people like this exist. Yes, there have been cases of people faking the disorder, but that is a very small percentage of people, and you're doing more harm by trying to accuse everyone who claims to have Tourette's as faking it. That is just weird behavior. I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't find so many comments like this while researching for this video, but it's just something that really annoyed me, so I had to talk about it. Cartman devises a plan to get onto Dateline, so that he can say horrible things nationwide. And here we see our first appearance of Chris Hansen. So right off the rip, I'm gonna let you know that I f***ing love To Catch a Predator. I'm someone who rarely rewatches TV shows. I can really only think of 3 different shows that I'll rewatch every couple years. South Park, Dexter, and To Catch a Predator. Watching these perverted freaks get arrested and then having them willingly sit down and be interviewed about it just hits the dopamine receptors differently. I'm neutral on Chris Hansen as a person. He probably did have a little too much influence during the show. Like a journalist probably shouldn't be directing law enforcement. I get some of the critiques, but man, was that show entertaining. Even talking about it is making me want to rewatch it. The way Cartman was able to get on the show was by writing Chris Hansen a touching letter.
Donkey boner!
When Kyle hears about Eric going on national TV, he confronts him about it. Cartman explains that he's gonna say horrible things about Jewish people, when suddenly,
I wet my bed last night!
Yeah, it actually happens.
He obviously didn't mean to say that,
He
but
starts spewing
brushes
his
it off.
secrets. I think that's
Honestly,
what
though,
Joe was
my
saying.
favorite part about this little
Talked about this
interaction
one the
with
other day.
Kyle is that Eric, for some reason, is pretending to drink scotch. I don't know why, but I find that really funny. Cartman is then thrown a party, and he gets praised for being brave enough to go on national TV for his disorder. Also, I think I found an animation mistake here, because why on earth would Kyle be smiling in this shot? While Cartman is giving his speech, he starts blurting out things that he doesn't mean to, implying that he's actually starting to develop Tourette's.
I fantasize about kissing Patty Nelson! Ew.
He panics and runs to the bathroom and tries to get Butter's take on things.
My cousin, one time, my cousin and I touched wieners.
Yeah,
That's what
Cartman
he
is
said,
never
isn't that
beating
what
the gay allegations. He's entering full panic mode by now because he's actually developing these real tics.
Oh,
this
shit.
is not possible, but it makes for a funny plotline.
Yeah, it
because
does.
finally, this little asshole
great
knows
episode.
what it's like to be someone with tics. He tries to get out of going on to Dateline, so he makes a visit to Chris Hansen. When he tells Hansen that he isn't going to do the show,
Why don't you have a seat?
this is an obvious reference to his show. I mean, you really do wonder why most of the Predators actually sit down and talk with him instead of just bolting out the door. But yeah, it really does feel like he has some
think they're in custody
superpower, and the way it
half
makes
the time.
Cartman move his arms like that always sends me. Eric explains that he used to say cool things like,
Jews being lame and stuff, but now it's gotten really bad.
Chris Hansen basically threatens him, talking about a time where a person from To Catch a Predator ran back into his house and they tried to locate the man, but he ended up...
He shot himself.
Yeah, this actually happened in
Yeah,
real
it did.
life if you didn't know. And
ended
it
the
caused
show.
a lot of controversy during this time.
And then shot himself in the head. And he had a pistol in his hand.
After he threatens Eric,
I just peed my pants.
Cartman then starts praying to God, attempting to show remorse, but somehow ends up blaming God.
You must see how this is all somewhat your fault, right?
This is just a beautiful showing of Cartman's narcissism. Meanwhile, Kyle and Thomas are devising a plan of their own to make sure Eric doesn't end up on TV, still thinking that at this point Cartman wants to be on the show. They do this by inviting a bunch of predators to the studio. This is likely a subtle joke on no matter how obvious a setup is, a predator will still take that risk. And once they arrive, they see Chris Hansen and they start unaliving themselves.
Wait a minute.
no.
Oh, God, it's Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen.
Oh my God.
I knew it. There aren't really brownies.
This
They don't
causes the
remember
audience
this.
to flee the studio, followed by Chris Hansen.
That's funny.
Kyle tells Cartman smugly that he is beaten and will not be going on television.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cal.
Cartman ends up hugging Kyle, to his surprise and anger, of course. Cartman thanks him, explaining how he has been saved from humiliating himself on national TV. He then leaves to find a psychiatrist to help him control what he says. As he skips off singing,
Ah, shit!
this is one of those episodes where, despite Cartman being the worst human ever, he doesn't end up getting what he deserves. Sometimes, it be like that. So the one criticism that TAA had with this
Welcome to Planet
episode
Earth.
was that it focused too heavily on the form of Tourette's that involves swearing. Which is fair, considering that only a small percentage of people suffer from those specific tics. But come on, it's South Park, of course they were going to focus on that. I've been reading a lot of posts to find out how people with Tourette's reacted to this episode. Most of them say they enjoyed it, but a common negative I see is that it caused people to bring up the episode when meeting them for the first time. Oh, you have Tourette's? Have you seen the South Park episode?
Oh,
yeah, that's
God.
definitely out of pocket. I'm the #1 South Park glazer, and not even I would mention this episode to someone with Tourette's, unless I was just their friend first. That's just extreme levels
Some
of
people just
being
don't think about that
socially
shit.
unaware. But aside
Yeah.
from those two things, Tourette's was portrayed
Socially unaware
almost
people.
perfectly. It educated while still being able to poke fun at a sensitive topic, but most importantly, it was just really funny.
Dick tits!
Also, you might be wondering what Chris Hansen thought about this episode. He was actually pretty chill about it.
They make fun, but they do it in
course.
an intelligent, biting way. and
Absolutely.
I had absolutely no issue with it whatsoever.
He also added that
Talk
at
about
the
a
time,
narcissist, he's
his
just
kids
happy he was
thought it was
involved.
the coolest thing he's ever been a part of, which is pretty hilarious. I'd like to know if anyone watching this video has Tourette's. It's something that I found myself very interested in while doing research on this video. Go ahead and let me know your experiences and your thoughts on this episode. I'll also be leaving a link in the description for a website that I use to reference some Tourette's facts, in case anyone else watching this is interested. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.
Armchair analysis, he does more than South Park. But I think it's going to, yeah, it's shifting to beard meets food now. Food challenges. Hoping.
All right, today we're at Sandy's Bar, which is at the One Call Stadium where the mighty Mansfield Town FC play. And they happen to have a food challenge on the menu. Because it's a football stadium, I'm going to be joined by a very special guest in the shape of Mr. Ben Foster.
What?
Fabulous save by Foster. Magnificent save
Oh,
by
like
Foster.
a soccer player.
He's the best football player in the world.
I'm being serious.
Is that your car?
My Is that your car?
I told him to do that. I told him to kick it really hard at your car.
Forget about this YouTuber. Nah, come on, you're going to fall over in a minute. That ankle, look at his ankles. They're like tiny, skinny little things like that. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do two-touch, okay?
Dude, that
Dead
my bonus
easy.
XP,
You've
this
got
shit
two
slowed
touches.
down
Keep the ball, pass it back to me, okay?
much.
Ready?
I was running on like crack XP. I had double XP. I had bonus XP. I had this little meteorite thing.
Man of many
now it's all
talents.
run out.
Football's got one.
Straight up
Should we get
double
side?
XP. It's in the range of RuneScape. Is not really a lot. Not really a lot.
Hi. How's it going?
I
I like people around here. See that Ben's foot's tapping there a little bit. He's looking a little nervous. He did say he was fiercely competitive on the podcast that we just filmed.
I'm competitive. I'm pathetically competitive, in fact.
He said he was fiercely competitive, but I think he's realised perhaps that today he's not likely to get the better of me. But it could be a giant killing, figuratively, of course, because I am only 5'10".
Do you think he'll do it? He's an athlete. He's like, he'll have a big appetite.
I was hopeful that he would, but he just said he was thinking about going for a run tonight, so I'm thinking that maybe his eyes aren't entirely on the prize.
Do you ever get nerves? Do you get like pre-match nerves?
No. But then that's because I'm one of the few people that realises the acute farce of what this is, you know, and I'm not taking it too seriously. I realise it's just me eating lots of food.
Am I allowed to drink this Diet Coke? Is it advisable?
I would say tactically you should probably leave that till you're starting to get bored of the flavour, which you inevitably will. So if you want to take tips, I'm not saying don't drink it, but I would leave it until halfway. It's like me, enjoy some highly refreshing local Mansfield tap water.
Lukewarm tap water. I never ever eat the batter
Yeah.
off the cod, ever. I always take the batter off the cod and then mix it with my chips and
Beer
mushy
meets
peas. And
poop.
that. So I'm looking forward to actually eating the batter today. Today's like a fully
What's up,
full
Studio
cheat
Slam?
meal day. I'm gonna just muller it.
Yeah, I hope so.
5 minutes later.
Speaking of poop, though, I always wondered how how he always handles that.
Nah.
He eats a lot of wild stuff.
Come on. It's doable, man. It's doable.
That's what blows my mind. Ooh, I could really go for some fish and chips. Are you kidding
Genuinely,
me?
when that comes out, are you thinking, yeah, I do you know straight away?
I know I'm going to get very bored of the chips.
I can
but
feel the heat.
I know.
I can feel the
you
heat.
know
it's
what?
so
This is going to
good.
be far worse when
I
they
could
get
really go
cold.
for
I'll tell you that
fish and
much.
chips.
So you want to eat these while they're almost painfully hot.
But it always amazes me that,
Is that
like,
every- oh, does the
whatever's
bread as
right
well?
there on that plate
Look how
is
thick
going
it
to
is.
be
I saw a
inside
video. I've already
his
watched a video
stomach,
of
and it
somebody
just,
doing this. And watch
I
how
don't know.
thick it is. Oh, it's not too bad.
It blows my mind.
I've built this up
But it's
massive.
Jesus keeps coming. All right, we're at Sandy's Bar at Mansfield Town FC today. where they
Toastus
do
mimosas.
this, which
Hello.
is has a very clever name, the Fish and Chip Challenge.
The Fish and Chip Challenge.
Actually, no, it's beard meets food.
It costs 20
Yeah,
quid.
no.
Yeah, that's correct.
If you could do it inside 30 minutes, it's free.
Yeah.
Does he actually have
It's 20
OnlyFans?
quid. It includes.
That's
it's 2 kilos
hilarious.
of chips.
That's really his name.
2.5.
All right, good enough.
Yeah, it's fine.
2.5
What's an extra
kilos of
500
chips,
grams?
Fish and some curry sauce, some mushy peas, and some bread. You don't have to finish the tartar sauce, but it is provided.
Any other time for one of his videos, it would be perfect
Right.
framing, but
How
he's
you feeling
eating
then?
with someone, so the framing's going to be weird.
I was expecting like chippy chips. These are like.
But this shit's going to make me so
These are
hungry,
big
man.
chips.
I really want fish and chips now.
Right, come on in, mate. Can I
It's
get some
poop.
ketchup? Would that be alright?
Oh my
Right,
God.
straight in for a chip button. I'm gonna get indigestion after about 3 bites, and then I'm just gonna be sitting there going,
The Toastus, do not
Really nice.
look up 2 girls, 1 cup then. Don't do it.
Oh, really nice. Yeah, really
Old
nice.
school. The OG poop play.
Now I know why you do voiceovers.
Right. I told you.
It's
'cause
so
he's
you
eating,
can't
no
talk,
shit.
can you?
The awkwardness.
Ben speak to earlier. He's got the condiment sauce, so it's like, well, we're a minute in, a minute 30 in.
Is there a way to do this? Yeah. And I'm doing it wrong already.
That looks so good. I can't.
I'm having this today, lad.
Looks so good.
I am having this today. I'm feeling good, you know. I think I'm putting you under pressure.
Yeah. I'm still looking and thinking, maybe not. The fact that you're confident,
The beer means
I'm blown away by it.
wait. I can't say that I am, but Studio Slam seems like an acquired taste.
Because I know that in about 5 minutes.
They say don't
it's
knock
like
it till you
eating
try it.
Not your first rodeo, this is it. This is not your first rodeo. I'm gonna do it like you, man. Do you know why? We like to squeeze the air out of it, so then the air don't go into my mouth.
Squeeze the air out of the fry.
Probably some part of that science is accurate. I'm not sure which part.
Whoa. You're gonna have to start moving down a bit quicker.
The way he chipmunks
Yeah.
food into his mouth is wild.
Makes some very erotic eating sounds there.
I'm just enjoying the food, I really am. My mum genuinely always used to just say, stop rushing your food.
I never forgot that. Personally.
It was too wild for me. There said it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you gotta
No, I
you gotta
think
keep
James
up on
Smith was
that.
pretty close.
You gotta watch out for your
Every
mental
which
stuff.
road I look down now is just pure sadness.
If I could give you one piece of advice, Ben, it would be, it's not unlike football, right? Nobody in the
I'm gonna have to look this up now. You guys are actually talking like this is a real thing. Are you serious?
Just not being quite good enough. They are going to blame me if you
You're
don't put
funny,
the
man.
effort
Hold
in,
on.
so Tuck it.
It's past 10 minutes, lads.
Pardon me.
About to go into Google.
Pardon me.
Well, he's got manners at least.
You've done so well on that. How have that happened?
It's only been going 10 minutes.
Yeah, nah.
Save a penalty against Cardiff, surely you can do this.
It's the same thing, isn't it, basically?
I googled it though, and it says the time Beard made
Dandelion
food
butter
and shit his
tasting weird,
pants.
like, you know, like a chip
I
in
guess
it.
there's a time for that.
No.
That's a really,
I'm not
really
aware.
random thing.
That's
If you're eating
funny.
fish and chips, you're going to have either dandelion and burdock, or like cream soda or something.
I am gonna have to turn it off though. He's making me hungry.
I'll put a good innings in there. Don't get me wrong, I ain't giving up. I'm gonna have another button.
I want
Any
fish and
aspirations of finishing this bad boy? Out the window.
I will say this one's actually not as
having this
interesting
today.
because he's got a. Whenever he
just
has
on
like
there.
a
Bit more,
a
bit more,
co-eater
bit more.
with them,
Perfect.
not as good of an episode.
I'm getting paid for this.
In my opinion.
We have Pepsi, cherry Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper.
Oh, it's got to be Cherry Pepsi Max. That's the all-time
Thank
great.
you very much.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
For yourself?
I've got a Diet Coke down there. I'm absolutely fine. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Look at the difference
Let's
here.
just past halfway.
He's still got a mountain, and he's just got a couple pieces of fish left. Wild.
My daughter's going to be so ashamed of me, you know that. She left for school this morning and said, Dad, do me proud.
Yeah, right.
Don't let me down, Dad.
I didn't think we'd see a worse eater than Tom Aspinall, but I think we found him.
No, come on. He's not that bad. Because this is actually quite hard.
Lindsay, what's up?
1.5 kilos of chips is impossible.
Isn't
That sounds
RuneScape
by
this
itself.
RS3 the fake variant? Oh yeah, okay.
That's so. Look at his beard. It's
I
such
couldn't
a
actually,
tramp.
to be
I
honest.
love it.
I think
That would feed a
yeah,
family of
because
four. wouldn't it?
OS
By
is
yourself,
the.
Comfortably.
Happily.
I feel like
You're
you're trying to
right.
convince people.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
exactly
agree,
what
I agree
That
with
was
you.
from when the
You're
Lesser
basically-
Demons look weird.
Too late now. We're great.
From the thumbnail, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shifty in that, weren't you?
I can't
You've
take
done
my
that
account
before.
back.
Yeah, you're on right up in there.
Not for a little while.
I think I have an OS
Who sang the song?
RS account, but it's
David Gray.
really low.
It wasn't David
This
Gray.
is an account from
Been
like
a
the
while.
original game though.
Stained.
Yeah, it might have
But
been.
I guess I
It
made the
was.
mistake of
Apostrophe D.
upgrading a long
that's
time
banger
ago.
as well.
Who had the worst taste in music in the training in the dressing room?
Possibly me. Probably me.
You've almost been more of a mess than I have been. Look at that. That's some accomplishment in itself.
I've done well here. I've done really well here. Somebody in the
Oh
comments
yeah,
tell me
good.
I've done well here.
Lindsay's an OG.
Oh, bud, you've got it, Mum.
But yeah, is there a way I can take it back
one person
to
there
old
that believes
school
you can do it.
RS?
You're not eating your lemons?
Or am I just screwed now?
We'll get there.
Because this was one of those accounts.
I'll get the
and I
rind.
think in that process.
And cake to follow.
I'll tell you what, you finish it, I'll pay my treat.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Deal.
It'll explain why I got different. Like, I don't even know what the hell this is. Oh,
She don't
a
really
Rick
matter.
Polaroid site? I don't know. I'm so stuck in my old ways.
Really enjoying it.
Right now,
It's a
I'm
bit
not
Miss Food,
even
and that was
looking at-
Sandy's giant fish and chip challenge. Just about beaten.
Yeah, damn.
Including the lemon round.
So good.
It's through drugs, yeah. You gotta get the psychedelic kind, right?
Oh, God.
The sounds, man.
Call that a time
You're actually
machine.
going slightly bloodshot now, so I'm starting to think he might throw up.
Nah, I'll be alright.
He'll be alright. Please be alright.
I'm thinking about DMT. You know, I really want to go on that trip. I want to fully, you know, immerse myself. Question is, do I get to choose what memory I go back to? I think it's just gonna take me.
Go on, I'll have a
somewhere.
look. What we got?
I don't have a choice.
Can I recommend?
Yeah.
We do our own made cornflake tarts. It's pea custard. Old school. Stick it off puddings, some sponge.
You give us what you recommend. Yeah, you're a
okay.
chef.
Okay, I'll give you
Very much.
that.
Two of them, please.
Yep.
RS3, but I quit.
Oh, woman.
Just went old school. You make me want to go
Honestly,
old school.
I've got the fullest
I
belly.
think
I don't know if you
me
can-
and my friend Joe started
wanna
old
lift my
school
top up.
accounts, but I think I only got to like 14.
Honestly.
And yeah, I really wish I never moved this over.
It's there.
What?
We're getting shirts?
I'm level 100,
Actual
right? Is that what
Mansfield
that
Town
means?
shirts.
Shirt for yourself.
Oh,
that's nice.
It's amazing. Oh,
Yeah, I think that's
thank you
it.
very
This
much.
is my level 100.
Oh, look at this.
Something.
That's big.
Oh my God.
Like a cornflake tart or something.
Oh,
I
stop
fell into the trap of transferring.
Maybe there is a future competitive eater in you after all, if you've still got space for dessert.
Pudding hole. You've always got room in the pudding hole, haven't you?
Does old school RuneScape have like this luminite and a Ricolite stuff? Or is it just like the old school stuff strictly?
I'm tempted to just write Ben Foster on it.
The psychedelic crack. Like a different strand. Is that like African dog's blood?
Let's take a penalty against Ben Foster now.
No, that's the
Using
hyena
an
stuff.
age-old secret technique imparted to me by the one and only Thierry
Studio
Henry.
Slam,
You ready
I like your satire. It's very good. Kid, whoa. Am I bringing back old memories? Whoa.
All right,
It's
let me make
PTSD.
sure I've got this entirely crystal clear.
All I have to do is eat
Like heaps of
13 bagels with cream cheese
Lion here?
inside
Call
30
me
minutes,
Walter White.
and not only the bagels free, but I get $250 cash money as
Comes
well.
back.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. You get a t-shirt.
And you get a t-shirt. T-shirt as well. I'm in. Sign me up. All right, we're at a spot called the New York Bakery Boys today, which, contrary to the name, is
say
not
that.
actually in New York. It's
Oh,
in
no.
Celebration, which is basically
Reminds
Orlando
me of that one movie,
in Florida, and we're doing their
Nicolas Cage
Baker's
when he was in
Dozen
Everybody's
Challenge. So
Maybe it's just a more
shoot this over the top here.
predator way.
So you get to choose
Whichever bagel you'd like. So I got all mixed one. I think today the best flavors we got pizza, garlic, onion, our regular everything, our plain, our egg.
Actually, Lindsay,
everything.
is there-
We got a French toast bagel.
Is
cinnamon
there
raisin,
double XP in old
blueberry.
school RuneScape
We got
right
a lot
now?
of flavors for you today.
and there are different flavors
That
of
might
cream
just
cheese.
start
Different flavors.
that.
I got 11 flavors of cream cheese. People pick the cream
Or is
cheese
it
they want.
only this R3?
So we have the normal amount, just a schmear, and the New York amount.
We have a customer that comes in every week.
Yeah, I think I'm
orders
gonna have
this
to go back
on
to
both
old
sides,
school.
Eats it with a spoon like cereal.
You will never hear me saying this ever again, but that seems like too much cream cheese to me.
But no double XP. Okay, that's unfortunate. I was gonna say, I'll
Yeah.
definitely grind some levels for double
competition.
XP at the
Yeah.
beginning.
So it's gonna be a 4-ounce bagel, 4-ounce cream cheese.
Nice. All right, got it.
But yeah, I might have
I'm
to
getting
start
hungry just looking at these
go
pictures
back
now.
to the basics because that's what
is
I would
he on the
pop
phone
in.
now?
I've just transferred this account, and then sorry, instead of talking over that, I transferred this account like back when they first did it, and I obviously didn't think about that consequence that I wouldn't be able to go back or I wouldn't want to. But then just popping in over the years, as I do, I go through phases where I just want to grind the crap out of RuneScape. And now this time I'm seeing all this stuff, and I feel so out of my element. Like I said, I'm kind of stuck in my ways where I've just been mining. I love wood cutting. It's weird, it's monotonous, but I love doing it. But yeah, I just keep seeing all these new things pop up, and I'm like, I don't want to learn that, and I hope it's not free to play because I'm not gonna deal with it. But old school sounds like the ticket.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my goodness, thank you very much. If anything, that's too much. Alright, today I'm at a place called New York Bakery Boys, which is in Celebration
that's
in
not a deal
Florida.
breaker
They
for me.
smell delicious, they look delicious, and if you can eat 13 of these bagels inside 30 minutes if you're a professional, 1 hour if you're an amateur,
I mean, it makes
then
sense.
the bagels are free, plus you get $250 and
Especially
a
for
t-shirt as well.
nostalgic.
Don't forget the t-shirt.
You can only imagine how many people are like
T-shirt
us,
as well.
where we're just
Alright,
like people that
do
have
you
had
want to
accounts.
give me like a 3, 2, 1 or
so
something?
long.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, whatever you give me.
Granted, I'm about to start over now. This one, but maybe I can get Joe into it too. My buddy
Thank you for
Joe.
the round of applause.
We're both restarting. We'll probably do it too.
See if I can earn it now. Oof.
I've
Yeah,
been in the
these are
mood
gonna be
recently. I go
chewy.
through phases in certain games, and recently I just wanted to grind stuff. Like wood cutting is what got me back into.
You don't know the half of it yet, son. What's up?
Which now that I'm all out of my bonus XP,
This is a fun one, you know. The Baker's
I'm gonna go
Dozen
to
Challenge.
smelting.
So called because you have to eat 13 gigantic bagels, flavors of your choice, smeared with a not unsubstantial
we're
amount
gonna
of
go.
cream cheese. Yeah.
You got an audience.
What a Fally.
A big one.
Like a fish in a fish tank. Yeah, he's done already.
Yeah, actually, I'm already starting to shift.
Oh, what
from
in this
unbridled
RS3?
enthusiasm to mild concern,
Killing a
because
boss
that's
in
2
7
minutes for one
seconds.
bagel.
You like
It's not
that?
the pace we want to be at.
Iron Man.
This is gonna be hard, you know. It's a lot of chewing.
That's what we were worried about. The jaw.
Wait, me and him
Yeah,
can have a
really
shared
what makes this
bank?
one
Is that what you're
uniquely
saying?
tricky. Of course, it's a lot of food, no doubt, but the really tough part.
Not trading, but you get a shared
intentional
bank.
upon
You can
is
have
the
4
jaw
players in a.
fatigue.
Get out
He's
of
already
here! That
started
sounds
hitting 3
awesome. Yeah, I
bagels
think I'm gonna
in.
sell him on that.
10
Thank you.
minutes down, beard.
Oh man, my jaw's feeling it now.
Knowledge juice.
This is hard work. Ugh. The key here is small bites. You have to do small bites.
Forgot they.
Yeah. Well, you
That sounds like a dream right there.
Sadly,
Because
about what, 10 minutes too late?
well, that's what I've been telling
So
him
we're
on
changing
like just
tack now to
games
try
in
and speed things
general.
up a
I
little.
wish we had a game with some kind of shared logic like that. Like I could work on something while he's not playing, or vice versa. You know, that's perfect. We can set each other up. That sounds great.
And charge punters tuppence a gander. What do we have here? A sign. Bite down and conquer.
Wait, can I not?
You're a champ. Yeah, I guess we'll see about
Oh,
that.
I forgot. I gotta
think
put it
that's
in here.
4 bagels down, almost 5 in 14 minutes, which, if I'm correct, still means we're gonna come up short at this rate.
Open some geodes.
15 minutes.
We believe in you.
You have a sign?
Yep.
I got the technique all wrong here.
Oh yeah, I mean, even having a challenge and something this nostalgic would be great.
Well, I need to speed up.
We stop talking and
Well,
get
that's
on with
me.
it,
I
then.
love life skills,
Maybe
and
I
I
can
know he
slip
would
a
be the
bagel to
combat
Paul
person,
O'Grady on the
so
camera on the left
it
there.
would go
Was that only
hand in
14
hand.
minutes
I mean,
left
obviously I
now?
like combat skills too, but
Oh, this is
that's
a
what always
chocolate
draws me
chip
back to
cream cheese.
RuneScape. I love the life skills, and not many games
on,
have
man.
been able to give me that. Like I said, I love woodcutting. I don't know why. I can't even explain why.
Okay.
I just like it. Here I'm gonna hope for
Oh,
diamonds,
thank
I
you.
guess.
Full sugar. I can't chew anymore.
That's a good idea. I haven't even heard about that.
I have to just try swallow pieces.
He pops up in the chat. You'll help me sell him. Name's Fans Only.
10 minutes.
But I don't think it would take much to sell him.
I need
I mean,
more
we'll
time.
play games
more
together.
time.
That's usually what we're trying to find, is a game to play together.
This is so hard.
No diamonds at all.
I don't mean to laugh at your pain. We got Pepto-Bismol. We're good.
It's fine, that's the idea.
Indeed it is. 5 bagels remaining and only 7 minutes to go. It's tasting good, but my prospects
I wasn't
aren't
even paying
looking so good
attention.
at
He's
this
doing
point.
this bagel challenge.
Oh man, the time's gonna get me. Does anyone know what time I'm at?
6:34.
6:34. I got 6:35, so extra second there.
Oh, he's got a time limit?
Oh no.
Imagine how filling bagels are.
I got locked door.
The chewing, that's how they get you.
New boss. Oh, new boss last week.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I gotta look that up.
I'm fine.
At least get on that, especially if I'm starting over, right?
I don't think I got it.
But I guess it'll give me more like
You got 4 minutes.
you know, more of
That's
a drive.
that's like a minute per bagel.
And it takes 10 hours to level up one skill in this account. It'll probably feel good to level up something quick.
Yeah, well, there's almost certainly enough DNA on there to clone me, if one was so inclined. Not sure where you would be. 3 minutes left, and 4 bagels remaining. I'll let you do the arithmetic, but whatever the outcome, this is the best one I've done in ages. The bagels are absolutely delicious. I love that you can pick from tons of flavors, not only with the bagels themselves, but the cream cheese too. Cash prize if you can lick it, and honestly, it's a laugh to attempt one with the most difficult aspect is muscular endurance rather than just portion size. I just made the mistake of underestimating it, but I'll be back. Mark my words. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll catch you at the next one.
Oh, this is hard.
Yeah, you couldn't do it?
It's coming out.
The bucket?
Just in case. Listen, you never know.
You don't have to do me like that.
Damn, yeah. What kind of bagel is that? The
I'm trying to chew more.
That shit.
Oh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Rebel in his failure.
Why are you clapping?
It is rare. It doesn't happen often.
Oh man. I legitimately thought when I hit the table I was going to do it easy. Oh man.
It's chewing. That's what it gets you.
3 to-go boxes.
All the bagels, man.
I'm ashamed of myself. Alright, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to hang my head in shame. It's nice to meet you all. I'm going to be back. I can do that. I know I can do it. I'm going to be back.
I think you got it next time.
It's nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. I'm going to come back. You have to hold on to the $250 for me.
More by then.
Oh my god. How did I just lose that?
That too crafting I need to work on. That's one of my lowers.
I'm not even full.
I mean, comparatively.
I can definitely do that. I know I can. You just have to tear little pieces off it. Tear off the pieces and kind of just swallow them rather than chewing them. Man, that's gonna haunt me, that one. Well, at least I've got plenty of food for the road.
Thanks for the correction too. I didn't even think about that with the rune. I was wondering too why the lesser demons look.
I'm gonna give it my best shot. Yeah, are they good?
They're way more. I guess if you want to call it detailed. In this
from New York.
I think they look way more cartoony.
You know your bagels, huh? Yeah. Tell you what, I'm excited today.
What?
Yeah, here. Here's meat.
Items that I ordered.
Restaurants. Oh, I remember I started.
Have you ever seen a McDonald's shaped like a UFO? What about a fancy one inside a gorgeous multi-million-dollar mansion? Or
yeah, it was
one
like
that's
weird
so
restaurants.
big, it's literally 5 times the size of an average McDonald's. Yeah, so apparently there's a ton of these cool and unique McDonald's all over America, and I want to visit them. Why, you ask?
Yeah, that's
well,
who
it's pretty simple. I want to know which of these McDonald's is the coolest McDonald's ever, and the journey begins.
That's
in
why I was
Roswell,
kind of happy to
New
be free to
Mexico.
play as well, because I see all these skills.
Is the coolest
like,
McDonald's
I've
I've seen in my entire life. To be honest, I'm
like
really excited to go inside
what?
this McDonald's, but I'm also a little nervous. Roswell, New Mexico is known as the alien capital of the world due to an apparent UFO crash in 1947.
I did like
according to my
Dungeoneering.
sources,
Is that
the
an OS?
UFO McDonald's is only a few miles away from the crash site. What if there are real aliens
yeah,
inside
is that the new one?
the UFO? That could be a possibility.
Is there at least Dungeoneering? They did it. Ah, damn.
Maybe they're in
that's
the truck.
unfortunate. I did enjoy that.
I made my
not
way
gonna
over
lie.
to the giant UFO. This thing looks even
enjoy
crazier
them.
up close.
But again,
There's
not a
also
deal
a bunch
breaker.
of these little alien statues out front, which did
And is
not help my
fletching
nerves.
still free to play? Because I remember that was kind of like a late thing.
So
we didn't
far, so
always
good.
have, like back in
I
the
don't think
day, we
anyone's
didn't
an
have
alien.
fletching.
Anyways, the inside
as
of this
a
McDonald's was
non-member.
pretty awesome. There were cool alien
But I know
decorations
I have
all
it
over
up
the
to an
place,
extent.
and it turns out the UFO is actually a separate dining area, and it's where the play place is. I made my way over to the kiosk to order some food.
120-piece
Oh,
chicken
okay.
McNugget meal, barbecue sauce,
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
and an Oreo McFlurry.
At least there's something similar. I
Then
mean, I
walked
don't care
over
if
to
it's
the
not attached to
UFO,
a
and
level
y'all,
or something.
I'm not gonna
That's
lie,
cool.
dude, it's so cool in here. So one of the things I really like
Yeah, at
about
least like
this place
something
is
to
it actually
break up
feels
the
like you're in a
gameplay, you know, like I
UFO.
used to
I mean,
like
look at
going
where
on
I'm
those
sitting.
little adventure type things.
It's like
That's
a
cool.
metal-plated wall. Everything about this place is space-themed. You got Space Grimace, this pink thing inside a McFlurry rocket, and even an astronaut Ronald McDonald. That one's a little creepy. Anyways,
Astronaut
let's
Ronald
see
McDonald?
if the food at the UFO McDonald's is out of this world. That was a horrible pun. I don't know why I said that. Looks pretty good. These chicken nuggets are hitting. Time for the McFlurry.
All the gems.
Ooh. Oh yeah, that's the bomb. That's so good.
All the gems.
I haven't had a McFlurry since I was like 5. I finished my meal and looked around the building some more. Took a picture with this
Dungeon
cool alien
difficulty.
statue, and even bought something from the gift shop. Awesome. Thank you so
At
much.
least
Appreciate it.
something to Check out. That's pretty cool.
I got a souvenir. Goodbye,
a
UFO
semi-equivalent,
McDonald's.
yeah.
It's been fun. So I'm now in a New Hyde Park, New York at the McMansion.
That's what I remember
Y'all, this
last
place
time I
is
logged
dubbed
on. I
the
wanted to do
world's
rune
fanciest
crafting, but I forgot where
McDonald's,
all the rune
and with
sites
good
were.
reason. I mean, look at
I
it.
didn't
This
remember
building
that
is
back in the
massive
day.
and gorgeous. This McDonald's is also known as the Denton House. It dates
Dad,
back
what's
to
up?
1795 and was originally
Dad,
a
where did the
farmhouse
beard
for a man
go?
named Joseph Denton.
I actually just
I couldn't
shaved it
find a
today.
picture of him. My bad. It was then converted into a mansion in the 1860s
it was
and
getting
finally
too
became a
itchy, so I was
McDonald's
like, you know
in
what?
1991. The UFO McDonald's
Now I
was
look
like
like a
unique
boy.
and wacky, but this is on like another
Little
level.
boy.
You're telling me I have to go in there and order chicken McNuggets?
How are you, sir?
What?
Hello,
Anyways,
Chad.
it is very cold in New York. Oh,
How art thou?
thanks.
What is
Was that
life?
for me? I don't know. It's cold. I'm gonna go inside. I'm very chilly. Gotta cross the street. Gotta cross the street. Gotta cross the street. Gotta cross the street. Obviously, the outside is beautiful, but I don't even know what to expect inside. Oh, fancy door. Real fancy door. Whoa. This place is cool. What the heck? Okay, so right when you walk in, there's a giant grand staircase leading up to the second floor.
Our
The
new
ceiling
76
also had
character.
exposed wooden trusses, which
I've
I
been
thought were
popping in.
very
I've been
pretty.
doing like my
I understand
dailies
why
and
it's
stuff,
called
but I just
the
haven't
McMansion.
been,
It
you know,
literally
like
feels like I'm
gung-ho on
inside
it.
someone's
I need
house.
to get back in.
A very rich person's house. That's also not the only fancy thing about it. There were fancy lights, fancy windows, fancy plants.
So how
even
is it?
the
I heard we're
trash
getting
cans
actually
were
we're getting
fancy.
fishing.
Nice trash
Hopefully
can.
more life skills in that.
I was slightly intimidated by all of the fanciness here,
Getting
but
fishing.
I have high
I still need to
expectations
try
for
out
the
a
food
ghoul.
now.
I haven't done
Can we get
anything
a
with the ghoul.
20-piece chicken McNugget meal? And then instead of the drink, can I get an Oreo McFlurry?
It's not working, machine, but we are waiting.
Oh, the machine's broken?
Are you
Friday
serious right now,
nights once a
McDonald's?
week.
You have fancy
Oh, yeah,
trash
maybe I'll
cans
join
but a
you.
broken ice cream machine? That doesn't even make sense.
Probably have to remind me by
Anyways.
next week.
Okay, so I placed my order and got my
Yeah, I'll have
drink,
to hop
but the
on
thing
and play.
is,
Like an
I
actual
have no
extended
idea where
play.
to sit.
So it was
I literally
actually
have
pretty
just been
empty in
hopping
here.
on doing dailies
One of the
and
most
then just-
surprising things was that there were literally no kids inside the building, like at all. Just fancy-looking old people. I made my way over to one of the many empty tables. I don't know how to explain this.
Just crazy too.
But I feel
it's
very
probably
uncomfortable
The
in this
most people
McDonald's.
play Fallout 76 in time.
I feel like I have
it's
to
the least
whisper
I
while
am.
I'm
I need
here.
to get back into it. It probably has such a big
I don't know if
community
that's
now.
just me though. It's kind of quiet. I'm gonna eat my food. Hopefully the chicken nuggets are good. Yeah, so I literally ate my food in silence while trying not to pay attention to the old people staring at me. So I'm just gonna go right out and say it. I am not having that much fun at this McDonald's. I'm gonna be honest, guys. This
The rich McDonald's?
Not that cool. But don't you worry. The journey to find the coolest McDonald's ever continues. Goodbye, world's fanciest McDonald's. You are pretty to look at, but very weird. So this next McDonald's is in Orlando, Florida.
Very weird.
How's it going? Just going to McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah, the really big one. This one's literally right next to Disney World, so it should be pretty cool. I'm very excited to check out this McDonald's. Also, my Uber driver Gerardo really hyped it up.
Fallout Friday.
Yeah.
They sell
Wow, okay. Oh, there it is. Whoa, that is a
All the
big one.
gems.
This is crazy. All right, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, man.
Have a good one. All right, y'all. Behind me is the world's largest entertainment McDonald's. That's literally what it's called. The world's largest. And I get it. It's humongous. This giant McDonald's is the craziest one yet. Inside, there's a 22-foot-tall play area, an arcade with over 100 games, and it's the only McDonald's in the world that sells the McPasta and the McPizza. So there are three things I want to do while I'm at this McDonald's. 1, I want to try a McPizza. 2, I got to win some arcade games. And 3, I want to go down the slide. I actually don't know if I'm allowed to do that since I'm an adult, but I'm going to do my best. Let's go inside.
The McPasta.
Maybe this is me getting like way too in over my head, but I'm very excited for this McDonald's. I have the biggest expectations. Holy cow, this place is massive. Whoa.
Pretty sure.
All right, y'all, this McDonald's is crazy. There's 3 different areas for different food. There's a cafe, the regular McDonald's ordering area, and a pizza restaurant. Y'all, those are wood-fired pizza ovens inside a McDonald's. You can see the fire. This place is nuts. I don't even know where to go.
That's why I wish
this
Fallout
place has an
76 had wood
aquarium.
cutting. Hey, that's why I was excited that we're getting
legit
fishing.
fishes
We're
in
actually
here.
getting like life skills, I guess.
What are
That'd be
these
pretty.
fish? He's kind of the color of the McDonald's logo. A little bit. All right, before I check out to the other floors, I gotta order. I got the usual chicken McNuggets and an Oreo McFlurry.
Okay,
and
cool.
of course, I had to order the McPasta and the McPizza.
It'd be really dumb if you couldn't, I guess.
I can't believe I'm spending $64 at McDonald's. This McDonald's has an elevator
All my
to
materials.
the 2nd floor. This is crazy. Okay, I don't even know what to expect. What do we got here?
He's lurking.
Another dining area. And whoa,
I see
oh my God.
styling shears.
Okay, so the play area, massive. The arcade, very cool. So I really want to check out the arcade, but first I'm gonna sit down and like eat.
Letter.
Y'all, this place is the exact opposite from the McMansion. Like straight up the exact opposite. The McMansion was dull, gray, and quiet. This McDonald's was very lively, very colorful, and definitely not quiet. Cool, thank you.
All of that.
Thank you so much. Whoa, that's a lot. I may have ordered way too much food. Here we go. That's a chicken nugget. All right, pasta check. So I just want to point out, the pasta looks good. Like this has like some nice plating to it too. Is this really McDonald's? I ordered the fun tortellinis. It's colorful. Here we go. That's a lot better than I expected. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this actually might be better than Olive Garden.
Why not?
Now it's time to try the McPizza. At first glance, the crust looks a little off. It seems like the McPizza might be a major disappointment. Time to complete the first task at this McDonald's. So I don't know if I'm just sick and tired of eating chicken nuggets
All the Rune
for
bars.
the past like 48 hours, but this pizza hits. I'm gonna box basically all of this up because I ordered way too much food. There is still one thing I have not tried yet. The Oreo McFlurry.
Here, while this do that, I gotta run out
now
real quick.
full and ready for the arcade. Y'all, I want to play some games, so I need to go get a game card. Luckily for me, the game machine is right here. Who spends $120 here? Oh my God. Update. I spent $120. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I was in an arcade, but this is pretty cool. How do I scan this? Am I too old for this? Swipe card. I started off by playing skee ball for a few minutes. I was pretty bad at it. Oh, I'm trash. Then I found this motorcycle racing game. Oh, there we go. I'm flying now. What's happening? I was actually pretty good at this one. No one would believe me if I did not get this on camera. I got first place. Played a couple other games. Oh. Then I tried to win this cute burrito from a claw machine. No! I did not get the burrito. With the first 2 tasks complete, there's only one thing left. The infamous big yellow slide. There was a big yellow slide. I'm not gonna lie, I really wanna go down it, but I'm too old for this. There is no way I can go down that slide. But I really want to. but I can't. Or can I? Update, we're going down the slide. Guys, this is Randy, the window tinting guy. Yeah! We're going into the play area. Okay, so I totally didn't expect this to happen. I was about to leave until Randy saw me filming and asked if I wanted to go down the slide with him and his daughter. How you holding up, Randy?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, your daughter found the slide. We made it. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm scared. Hey, Randy.
Hey, I'm going behind.
I'm scared. Oh, this is.
Facing down.
I'm scared. Oh, we're going down the slide. Ooh. Okay, I know that looked painful, but I swear it was fun. Literally the most fun I've had in a while. Shout out Randy. This guy's so cool. Thank you for the adventure, Randy.
Thank you.
That was exhilarating. I made my way down the elevator towards the exit. That place is crazy. All right, I'm now in Chicago. And behind me is the McDonald's headquarters. Oh, a cute dog. I got distracted. So this McDonald's inside the headquarters is the fast food franchise's only global menu restaurant. Here you can order unique food items found at McDonald's all around the globe. I'm very excited to see what countries I can order McDonald's food from. Dude, this is crazy. All right, so before I order, initial thoughts. First up, it is very clean in here. Very modern. Second, everyone working here is dressed pretty fancy. There's literally people wearing suits in the kitchen. Suits at a McDonald's? What? I'm gonna go order now. I just wanted to point that out. All right, so obviously we have to do our usual. First things first, Oreo McFlurry. Gonna get a 6-piece chicken nugget. Time to see what's on the international menu. Now, since McDonald's operates in over 118 countries, the global menu rotates every 3 months to highlight different locations. Oh my God, there's so much stuff. I'm overwhelmed. This time, I was able to order from the McDonald's in England, Japan, and Korea. Transaction approved. Got my receipt. So I'm at my seat, table number 7. And y'all, this McDonald's is so nice. Hello, I ordered a lot. Thank you, appreciate it. Look at this haul. Oh my God. Ooh, this is gonna be a good chicken nugget. I can already tell. Ooh, those gotta be the best nuggets I've had. To be honest, this is probably my only chance to try McDonald's from a bunch of different countries at the same time. So I kind of want to rank all of the different items that I ordered. Let's see which country has the best food. Oh, dude, this is a monster. What? How am I supposed to eat this? That's a heavy burger. This is the ebi fillet, which is a shrimp fillet. So instead of like the fish fillet, shrimp fillet. Honestly, it looks pretty crispy. Not a fan of the lettuce work, but it looks like it'll be good. Yo, I can't stop eating this one. This one's real good. Dude, look at the inside of this. That looks so good. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that is so good. So I've come to the conclusion, even though McDonald's started in America, every other country has a better menu than the American one. Now, out of all of the McDonald's countries I did try food from, the winner has to be Korea. Please bring this McFlurry to the States. Honestly, I was surprised. This McDonald's is pretty cool. But now it's on to the next spot. All right. It's time for a very long road trip. All right, let's roll. So this next McDonald's I'm going to should be very, very cool. I don't know how much fun I'm gonna have at it because it's technically drive-through only, but from the pictures, it looks very, very exciting. It's also the only one of its kind, so I don't even know what to expect out of this. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I see a McDonald's logo, and oh my God, there it is. Yo, I can't believe it. I'm here in person. That's crazy. Cosmix, the newest McDonald's building. Okay, I know what you're thinking.
That spot's not a real McDonald's.
Look, it's owned by McDonald's, so I'm gonna count it. Also, the Cosmics mascot was literally an official McDonald's character in the 1980s, until he mysteriously disappeared. Maybe I missed him while I was in the UFO. All right, so I'm in the drive-thru. It's time to place my order. I haven't looked at the menu at all, so I don't even know what they have. Y'all, there are so many things on the menu. I am so overwhelmed. Oh my God. So according to the Cosmics website, their menu is supposed to be otherworldly, and it's designed to boost your mood into the stratosphere. I don't even know what that means, but I'm excited about it. They got boba. I love boba. I ordered a bunch of different things since there was a ton on the menu.
Okay, anything else?
And then, this is like a weird request, but can you just surprise me with like a really fun last item?
Do you want it drink-wise or food-wise?
Let's do a drink, like a fun drink.
Okay, I'm gonna make this one hurt then.
You're gonna make it hurt?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it hurt. You said
Make it hurt.
you.
Okay, I'll take it. Y'all, it's my time. Order ready, pull up to the window, let's go! I'm so glad there's not a line. I heard there was gonna be like a 4-hour wait. Is this one the fun drink?
Or wait, don't I just put that back?
I'm scared.
No, don't be scared. I promise you'll like it.
You promise?
Yes,
Gotta be a thing,
Okay,
right?
thank you so much. Thank you, you too, appreciate it.
Take these and put them back into that.
He laughed so loudly. What? All right, everyone.
I have to relearn everything at the same time.
I am now
when I build
parked,
this.
and I'm very excited. So first up, we have the S'mores a Cold Brew. Apparently, Cosmics was created to kind of compete with Starbucks, and I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I also got some Starbucks this morning. It's pretty mid. Look at that.
Pretty mid.
Boom. Give it a little shaky shake.
You heard it here first.
Oh! Oh my God, that's good. Oh, that's pretty nice. I like that. Next up, these are the hash brown bites. My first initial critique, there's not that many in there, but it's fine. I ordered a lot of things, so. Ooh!
Back in.
If there was McDonald's heaven, I'm in it. That was good. That was real good. Next up, Oreo McFlurry. Here we go.
What? Okay. I'm just so confused by all these menus.
Oh my God. Honestly, Oreo McFlurries are the one thing from McDonald's that brings me right back to my childhood. I used to get these all the time. Now that I've tried all of the things that I personally
That's why,
ordered,
Lindsay, are you still
there's
there?
only one more
Is
item
this
left.
in old
The
school
fun
RuneScape?
drink.
Like this
is
whole like
crazy looking. Cosmics, what did
smelting
you
bank?
make? I don't even know what to expect out of this.
Or is
I
it
think
straight
there's,
up,
like,
I still gotta
popping
run
boba
back
at the
and forth?
bottom. There's a lemon, and it's like this radioactive red.
This has been a
color.
huge. I keep forgetting how
I'm
to
a
use
little
it every
nervous for
time,
this one.
but
Let's see how it goes.
what a quality of life improvement.
Oh! That's sour! The boba's pop in your mouth though, so that's fun. All right, everyone. Now that I have officially been to all of America's most unique McDonald's, it's time to crown a winner. So I'm back home now, and after a thorough review of all of the footage I got and all of the McDonald's, I've decided the coolest McDonald's in all of the land is the one with the big slide. Oh! Oh! Ow, I got a wedgie! So recently I discovered that a bunch of knockoff fast food restaurants exist. For example, this is a frowny meal from a knockoff McDonald's. And that got me thinking, how are they getting away with this? Today I'm checking out knockoffs of the most popular fast food restaurants to answer one simple question. Are any of these knockoffs better than the original? Let's head to the airport, where my journey begins in Birmingham, England. Behind me is what appears to be a Chick-fil-A knockoff restaurant. This is Chili Chicks, a fast food chicken restaurant that basically stole Chick-fil-A's logo. How is that even legal? The craziest thing about this restaurant, guys, is I actually think it's better than Chick-fil-A for one reason and one reason alone. I'm filming this video on a Sunday and it's open. That's crazy. All jokes aside, I really want to know how good this restaurant is. Let's go inside. I can't believe I flew across the ocean to try something I could have just DoorDashed from my house. Guys, this is literally Chick-fil-A. Like, I don't know what to say. To my surprise, the inside of the restaurant looks a bit different from a standard Chick-fil-A. There were these weird velvet booths that made me feel like I was in a nightclub for some reason. This is weird. The first thing I notice is the Chick-fil-A logo on this red bag. It's literally the exact same red and white color scheme. What? How have they not gotten sued? I made my way up to the counter and ordered the Supercharger Burger. It seemed like the most dissimilar to my usual at Chick-fil-A, the Spicy Deluxe Chicken Sandwich. Awesome, thank you. Quick question. Do y'all know what
Spicy
Chick-fil-A
Deluxe.
is?
What was that? You're from America?
Yeah. Thank you, appreciate it, man. All right, so I just got my food, and guys, y'all, this looks very similar to Chick-fil-A.
Chili
So the
Chicks?
crazy thing is, I'm pretty sure the only way they can get away with using this logo is because there are no Chick-fil-A's in the UK. Like, at all. And even though Chick-fil-A has over 3,000 franchises, tons of people in England have no idea what it is. Do you know what Chick-fil-A is?
No.
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 You don't? You never heard of Chick-fil-A? No. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. That's crazy. Literally nobody here knows what Chick-fil-A is. Maybe this is how they're getting away with stealing the logo. But the real question is, do they make a better chicken sandwich than Chick-fil-A? All right, let's open this up. Interesting. I'm not gonna lie, it actually looks pretty good. The first big difference I noticed though is that a Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Chicken Sandwich uses pepper jack cheese. I'm pretty sure this is just regular cheddar cheese. Why am I nervous to try this? Oh, that's spicy. Yo, I promise I'm not exaggerating. This sandwich was hot.
Why is it so spicy?
Yo, I thought British people were supposed to have really low spice tolerances. A Spicy Deluxe Chicken Sandwich at Chick-fil-A never has done that to me. I feel like I'm coughing up chilies. And on that note, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Chick-fil-A is better than its knockoff counterpart, Chili Chicks. The Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Chicken Sandwich is way juicier and won't give me heartburn. Anyways, time to hop on a train and head to London for knockoff restaurants number 2. So in America, you have Five Guys. In the UK, you have
Five Lads.
This is Five Lads, a supposed
Five
knockoff
Lads.
of popular fast food burger chain, Five Guys. I actually found it on Reddit, but now that I'm here, I'm not actually sure if it's truly a knockoff. Apparently, this place serves chicken. I don't even know if they sell burgers here, but it's time to investigate. Let's go
Sounds
inside.
similar.
Whoa. Okay, so it turns out this restaurant has a way bigger menu than Five Guys. Obviously, there are a lot of chicken options, but I also see burgers. I ordered the spicy chicken breast burger along with their gourmet beef burger. So one thing I want to point out, the prices of this restaurant way cheaper than a Five Guys. A single burger at Five Guys in England costs about £8, while a burger at Five Lads only costs about £5. So I just placed my order, and guys, I'm not gonna lie, this place is a lot fancier than a Five Guys. If you've ever been inside a Five Guys, it feels like a fast food restaurant. The red and white checkered pattern they got going on looks like it comes from the 1950s, and honestly needs some updating. Meanwhile, Five
of
Lads
checkers?
felt like an actual sit-down restaurant. Also, I love that the condiments are actually at the table, instead of at a random counter you have to walk up to. So I just got my food. I got a chicken burger with medium spice, and a regular gourmet beef burger. I want to compare this burger to Five Guys. The Five Lads gourmet burger is pretty simple. It comes with a standard beef patty, mayo, onions, tomatoes, and lettuce. I do like that it comes with a little flag. It says beef burger on it. It's cute. Here we go. Ooh. That was a big bite. That's pretty good. I was a little worried the burger would not be that good since it is a chicken restaurant, but I like it. Now it's time for a Five Lads original, the grilled chicken breast burger. Look at this. Look at that sauce. Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, to be for real, this flame grilled chicken burger was way better than the regular gourmet beef burger. And this sauce is bomb. I'm gonna devour this. Oh, lots of burps. So,
I've just been getting all this.
What I find the most interesting about this restaurant is that instead of reminding me of a Five Guys, it actually reminds me of another very popular fast food chain in the UK called Nando's, which is basically the most famous peri-peri chicken restaurant of all time. They even have over 1,200 franchises in 30 different countries. And the craziest part is, this is what a Nando's menu looks like compared to Five Lads. I mean, literally, the menus are the exact same. And coincidentally, Five Guys and Nando's just happen to be two of the top fast food chains in the UK. Pretty convenient. Is this place actually a knockoff combination restaurant? I've come to the conclusion that Five Guys completely ripped off Nando's, Then they named it
Five Lads,
just to be funny. Now, do I think Five Lads is better than Five Guys? I'm gonna have to say no for this one. Five Lads makes some pretty good chicken, but Five Guys makes a way better burger. So I'm heading back to America right now, to the next knockoff fast food restaurant, and honestly, I don't even know how this one still exists. There was a major lawsuit against them, and it's pretty crazy. So, time for a very long flight. Luckily, I've been reading this book the entire time I've been in London, so I'm gonna try to finish it.
Curious what?
All right, y'all. Your
Detroit.
boys made it to Detroit, Michigan. That was a very long flight. Anyways, I had to rent a car because the next knockoff fast food restaurant is about 50 minutes away from the airport. So I got a long drive ahead of me. I got the directions mapped up, so it's time to roll.
How do I get out of this parking lot? Ooh, got a little close there.
Anticipation is killing me.
Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, first reaction. I understand why they got sued. Ladies and gents, welcome to Dolls and Burger, a supposed knockoff of popular fast food chain In-N-Out. Straight up, y'all, this looks like an In-N-Out building.
This is me.
Look, here's a picture of an In-N-Out for comparison. Now, there are 3 claims from the lawsuit that I plan on investigating. 1, apparently, the employees here wear the exact same uniforms as In-N-Out employees. 2, Dolls and Burger stole In-N-Out's restaurant interior design. And 3, apparently Dolls and Burger stole In-N-Out's cup design too. You know, like the one with the palm trees. Those are all very specific accusations, so it's time to see if they're true. Also, I want to get inside. I keep flying to places that are cold. Okay, so initial thoughts on walking in, y'all. This definitely feels like an In-N-Out. And if you don't believe me, here's the inside of both restaurants side by side. It's very clear they use the same red and white color scheme. I was just surprised to see how similar the menu looked too, especially since in the lawsuit, it specifically states that Joseph Dallenberg, the owner of Dallenbergers, sent In-N-Out's menu as an example in order to develop their own menu boards. It looks like In-N-Out might have a point with that accusation. It's not looking good, but let's see what the employees are wearing. A standard In-N-Out uniform consists of a white collared shirt, a red apron, and their iconic paper hat. I made my way to the cash register and was very confused. Y'all, this is a little odd. I don't see anyone. I just want to know what they're wearing. Ooh, I see people. Those do not look like In-N-Out employee uniforms. They are different. Honestly, this was very shocking to me, since one of the first images that pops up when you look up Dallenbergers is this picture of their uniforms. That looks like In-N-Out. But after speaking to an employee, I learned that a few things changed after the lawsuit.
And they said, oh man, that's too much. Probably got all new uniforms and everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because I saw pictures and I was like, whoa. But even with new uniforms, I did notice something familiar on the menu. I'm reading the description on the Dallenberger Deluxe. That sounds like an In-N-Out double-double to me. The biggest difference between the two, though, the price. An In-N-Out double-double cost $4.90, while a Dallenberger Deluxe cost over $7. The Dallenberger Deluxe seems a little expensive. I'm not seeing any animal-style fries on the menu, though, so that's good. That was not stolen. All right, I'll do the Dallenberger Deluxe.
Single or double for you?
Double.
Gotcha.
Can I do a root beer float?
Yes, absolutely.
Sick.
Anything else for you?
That will be all. I heard this place was better than In-N-Out.
Eddie?
It is.
It is?
Oh, better.
Oh, that's what I like to hear. All right, y'all. I ordered my food. All right, so I just placed my order, and first thing I want to note about this place, the staff here are extremely nice. One of them did say that Dallenberger is better than In-N-Out, though, so I kind of want to put that to the test. Awesome, thank you. I just got my food. This looks delicious. That's a nice burger right there. I also got fries and a root beer float. One thing I want to point out right away, the container used for the fries is different than In-N-Out. I did go to an In-N-Out before coming here, just so I can compare what the plates look like. The food still looks pretty similar, but the most important part is how good this burger tastes. Here we go.
Yeah, I guess even or less.
Dude, looks aside, this is a great burger. These fries are so good. It's like the perfect French fry. They're crispy, It's a thick fry, but it's like still soft on the inside. I'm downing this burger. Also, whenever I see a root beer float on the menu, I have to get it. I love root beer floats, and this is a very good one. All right, I'm very full now, but there is still one more accusation that I need to either confirm or completely bust. Did Dollenberger steal In-N-Out's fountain drink cup design? Hey, can I get a fountain drink? Yeah. Thank you. All right, I'm back in the car. What am I gonna say? I don't know. All right, hold on. Ladies and gents, this is what a cup looks like from Dolzenberger.
It looks like I'm making some two-handers.
Yeah, this is from In-N-Out. This looks exactly like the In-N-Out cup. They stopped wearing the uniforms, but they kept the cups. Now, do I think Dolzenberger is better than In-N-Out? This might shock you, but I think it is. That was one of the best fast food burgers I've ever had. If you're ever in Michigan, near Dolzenberger, you should go. Anyways, back to the airport. I've literally only been in Michigan for like 3 hours.
So I just sit here and let it go, I guess?
All right, y'all, we're in Los Angeles, California now. And as you can probably guess, the big red building behind me is the next knockoff fast food restaurant. It's called Mr. Charlie's. Can you guess what this restaurant is a knockoff of? I'll give you 3 seconds. Burger King.
Do we just have to wait?
Nah, I'm just kidding. The restaurant behind me is called Mr. Charlie's, and it's a knockoff of the most popular fast food restaurant ever, the Golden Arches, also known as McDonald's. Now, I have no idea how they got away with using the same red and yellow color scheme as McDonald's, but all I know is that the biggest difference between the two restaurants is that Mr. Charlie's is actually vegan, and their mission is to redefine fast food and tackle serious issues in a not-so-serious way. I'm very excited to check it out. I hope the food is good, but we're about to find out. Now, before I can go inside, I need to cross the busy street. Oh, there's a bus. There's a walk sign. Time to move. Go, 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 go. Trying not to get hit by a car in California. I've successfully made it across the street. Now here it is up close. Mr. Charlie's. Instead of a happy face like McDonald's, it's a sad face. I'm not gonna lie, I do like their motto, turn that frown upside down. I think it's cute. Let's go inside. Hello, how are you? All right, y'all, I am inside Mr. Charlie's now, and I'm not gonna lie, this place looks sick. The inside of the restaurant was obviously red and yellow themed, just like McDonald's. It also had a very similar menu, nice little open kitchen, and my favorite part has to be these Happy Meal boxes, or I guess Frowny Meal boxes, that's what they're called here. Bro, it looks like a McDonald's Happy Meal, but sad. And instead of a Big Mac, they got the Big Chuck. I definitely have to get that, for sure. Can I do the, I'll do the Big Chuck. Do the not chicken nuggets too.
Anything else for you?
Do I get one of those boxes?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I wanted.
Actually
awesome.
temper.
Thank you so much.
Interesting.
I'm gonna sit outside. All right.
Yeah, just more of a reason to go to old
Brownie
school.
meal has been acquired. Dude, this box is so cute. How do they get away with this legally? I have no idea. I found an article about the owner of this restaurant, and apparently whenever he's asked about McDonald's, he pretends to not know McDonald's exists. Yet despite all of those interviews and articles saying he has no idea what a McDonald's is, there's a woman Ronald McDonald painting inside the restaurant. Like, bro, what? All right, time for an unboxing. Let's go ahead and open this. Bada bing, bada boom. Inside should be my Big Chuck. Well, those are sauces and napkins. Hold on. The Big Chuck's in here somewhere. Okay, y'all, the fries look pretty good. Let's see what container the fries come in. Oh my God, bro, that's a McDonald's container with a sad face. Oh God, I nearly dropped them. Next up in the box, I have my not chicken nuggets. These are vegan chicken nuggets. And then finally, what I was the most excited for, the Big Chuck. Oh, look at that, dude. There's also a cute sticker on it that says, "Stop staring at me like I'm some piece of meat." That's so adorable. So far, the biggest difference I'm noticing is that traditionally a Big Mac comes packaged in a cardboard box. This Big Chuck comes wrapped. So I don't think that's enough to prevent a lawsuit, but whatever. I got all the food laid out, y'all. Time to see how Mr. Charlie's compares to the original. First up, the French fries. So I'm assuming these should taste exactly like McDonald's French fries. We'll see. Dip it in some sauce. And yo, I'm not gonna lie, that is a good French fry. This tastes exactly like a McDonald's French fry. Like there is literally zero difference. And I like it. It's pretty good. So next up we have the not chicken nuggets. I've never had vegan chicken before though, so I have zero idea what is actually inside here. I don't know if it's like tofu or something.
10 years now to make one thing.
I'm uneducated, I just eat. Looks wise, this does look exactly like a McDonald's chicken nugget. Here we go. You know, it's honestly not bad. I would say it tastes the exact same as a McDonald's chicken nugget. The texture is a little different, which, to be fair, that makes sense. It's not made with the same stuff. That's pretty good. I'm impressed. Now, before I get too full, we gotta try the Big Chuck. Let's see how this compares to a Big Mac. And oh, it is saucy. That is, this is a saucy burger. And it's upside down. I'm gonna be the first to point out, it doesn't look the most appetizing, but looks could be deceiving. At least I hope they are. Let's go ahead and flip this over. Maybe it'll look better from the top. And okay, there we go. That looks a lot better. Ba-bam. So the Big Chuck features 2 Impossible Foods alt meat patties, vegan cheese, shredded lettuce, chopped onions, and a special vegan sauce. This right here is the moment of truth.
At the end of the episode anyway. That's enough grinding for now. This is really killing it for me too. I think I'm gonna pick up old school RuneScape and then I'm gonna have to restart though. That's the shitty part. Them away. But yeah. Thank you for hanging out. Likes are always appreciated. All that good stuff. I'll catch you in the next